Hey friends, so today we're gonna go and implement an amazing Tableau project where we're gonna go and build an HR dashboard using Tableau. And what's special about this project is that you will not only learn how to use Tableau in order to create visualizations, but also you're gonna learn how I usually implement professional Tableau projects at my work. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Bara and I lead Big Data and BI projects at Mercedes-Benz, and I'm here to share everything that I know about working with data. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. So in this Tableau project, I'm gonna guide you step by step, starting from the user requirements. Then we're gonna go and draw the concepts and the mockups of the dashboards. And at the end, we're gonna have a fantastic dynamic dashboard using Tableau. So that means by the end of this project, I'm gonna leave you with a Tableau dashboard and as well real life skills on how to implement Tableau projects. And now my friends, before we jump to the project, I would like to take a moment and say the following. Everything in this project is for free. And as well, I highly recommend that you follow me along with this project step by step, because just sitting and watching it will not really help. You have to get your hands dirty. And hey, this is your project, so feel free to share it in any platforms you want, like in LinkedIn or in Tableau Public as a portfolio. So that's all for now. Let's jump and get started with the project. Now my friends, by the start of each project, first I decide on the coloring. So the first decision that I make is whether we want to have a dark or light theme in the dashboard. And since the last sales project was a light theme, this time we're gonna go with the dark theme. And after that we have to decide on the 4 colors, not more. And we divide it into 2 categories. The first category is the basic category, and here we have 2 colors, black and white. Usually I go with the gray coloring, so we have a dark gray and very light gray. Now the second category, we have the custom category, and here we have the 2 colors of our own style. So for this project, I'm gonna go with the green and pink. But wait, here we have an issue. My wife said this is not green, this is Persian green, and the other one is not pink, this is royal fuchsia. So sorry. Alright, so those are the coloring that I have decided for this dashboard. Of course, you can go and add your own style. You don't have to follow my coloring. Alright friends, Tableau project has mainly 3 phases. The first one is by preparing our data, where we go and connect our data to Tableau using a data source. So we have always to do this step before building any charts or doing an analysis. In the second phase, we're gonna go and build many different charts and visualizations based on the user requirements. And in the last phase, we're gonna go and put all the charts in one single consolidated dashboard. And in this phase, it includes a lot of formatting and refining in order to make the dashboards user-friendly and effective. So let's start with the first phase, where we're gonna go and build Tableau data source for our project. Alright friends, so now we're gonna go and build the data source for our project, and here what we're gonna do. So first step, we need data. We're gonna go and download the data for the project, and then we're gonna go and connect the data with Tableau using a data source. And after that, we're gonna go and check the quality of the data and the data types. And the last step, we have to go and understand and explore our data before building any visualizations. Okay, so the first step of building a data source in Tableau is that we have to go and get a data. And to be honest, I've checked a lot of projects and datasets, and I didn't find anything that is suitable for these projects. That's why I have decided to generate my own data. And of course, I have a personal assistant in order to help me with this task, and that is the ChatGPT. So I have asked the ChatGPT to generate a Python code in order to generate a dataset. And after a long shot and twisting around, finally I've got a really nice code in Python using the library Faker in order to generate data. And if you want this Python code that I've used and the prompts in the ChatGPT, you can find everything in the project link. So friends, as you can see, ChatGPT here helped me in order to generate a datasets for practicing. Okay, so now let's go and get the data. In the video description, you can find a link for this page where I have collected everything that you need for this project. As you can see here, we have a zip folder where you have all the files for this project. And if you scroll down over here, we have the user story for this project. So here we're gonna go and build a Tableau dashboard for the human resources based on those user requirements. So let's go and download the zip folder. It's over here. So let's click on it and you can have it in the download folders. And now the next step, we're gonna right click on it and extract all, and then extract. So we have it over here. So now what I usually do, I move this folder to somewhere else because I tend to clean up the downloads, and if you lose the connection between Tableau and the data, you will get a lot of errors. So let's go and do that. I will just copy it and put it somewhere like here. And now let's go inside it and check what do we have. So what do we have over here? We have icons and images. You can find all those stuff that we need later for the dashboards. And as well, you can find the Tableau project file, and of course you can go and download it from the Tableau public. And here we have our data, human resources CSV. So this is the data of our project, and you can find the dashboard mockups that I've created using the Draw.io. Alright, so with that we have our data for this project, and the next step is that we're gonna go and connect Tableau to our data. Alright, so the first step is that we're gonna go and start Tableau public. Then we are now at the landing page. Let's go and connect to our file using the text file. And then we're gonna go and open the downloaded data, human resources CSV. Let's go and open it. So now usually the next step is that we're going to go and build a data models from the files, but now for this project we have only one file. That means we don't have to worry about relations and joins and union and so on. So our data model has only one table, one file for the whole project. Okay, so now the next step is that we're going to go and check the quality of the data inside this table. So the first thing is, of course, if you are using text files, that the column names should be correct. So we can find over here that everything looks fine, right? We have employee ID, first name, last name, gender, state, and so on. So the names looks okay. And if you don't have it like this, we have to go and check the properties of the file. So in order to do that, right click on the table. Usually in text or CSV files, the first row should be the field name or the column name. So make sure this is checked, and then we're gonna go to this option, text file properties. Let's go inside it. And here it's very important that you have the setup like me that I'm showing now. So the field separator should be the semicolon. And if for any reason that Tableau did select something else, make sure to select semicolon. And the third option is important. It is the encoding of the file. It should be as well UTF-8. So if you have those options like this, you should be safe. So let's go and close it. So that means Tableau is reading the files correctly and the column names are correct. Now the next step is that we're going to go and check for each field whether Tableau did assign the correct data type. Let's have a look. The first column, the employee ID, it is a string, and that is correct because here we have a character between the numbers, so we cannot have it as a number. First name, last name, gender, all those informations has characters inside it, and of course it is a string. Let's move to the right side, and now we can see we have two columns about the locations. So as you can see, Tableau did assign this correctly to a geographic role. And if you don't have it like this, it's very simple. Go over here on this icon, and then we have here the option of geographic role, and make sure that we assign it to the correct information. Now let's keep moving. We have here the education level, which is correct. It is string. And then after that, it's very important. We have several dates. So we have the birth date, the hire date, and the termination dates, and all of them has the correct data type. Now let's keep moving to the right side, and as you can see we have department, job titles, all of them are string, and we have salaries. So the salaries is the only field inside our datasets that has the data type number. And the last one is the performance rating. It is string, which is correct. So as you can see, Tableau did a wonderful job by mapping the correct data types to the columns. And having the correct data types is very important in your project in order to do the calculations correctly and to have good data quality inside your dashboards. Alright, so with that we have built our data source and everything looks really great. Now the next step is that before I start building anything, any charts, I would like to understand the data, to explore the data. So what I usually do, I go and create any sheets over here, and then I start dropping informations to the sheets in order to explore the data. So for example, which departments do we have inside the data? So as you can see, we have 7 departments: customer service, finance, HR, and so on. And then what is interesting, for example, the job title, let's drop it over here. And now we can see all those job titles, but we could understand as well, there is a relationship between the departments and the job title, right? So what we can do over here, if you have a relationship between two columns, that you go and create hierarchy. So let's go and do that. It's very simple. Let's take the job title, drag and drop it on top of the department like this, and then you have to assign a name for it. I'm just going to leave it like this. Let's go and click OK. And now on the left side we have hierarchy, where it starts with the department and ends with the job title, so the order of the hierarchy is as well correct. Let's keep exploring. Let's go and get the education level, for example, over here, and we can see there is no really a relationship between the education level and the jobs and departments. So I go and drop it in order to see. So in our data we have 4 education levels. We have bachelor, high school, master, and PhD. So as you can see, we are just browsing and exploring the data. Now my recommendation is that to pause the video and you go through all the fields. And only after you understand the content of the data, we're gonna proceed with the next steps. Okay, so now I hope that we have now better understanding about the project data, and now with that we have a solid data source in order to start building charts in Tableau. Alright, so now we're gonna go and build the charts for the first dashboard, the summary dashboards, and here what we're gonna do. First, we have to analyze and understand the requirements in order to decide on the charts. And after that, only for one time, we're gonna go and do initial steps by formatting the worksheets in order to use it as templates. And after that, we have to make sure that we have all the dimensions and measures in order to build the charts. And if not, we have to go and create calculated fields. And only after that, we can go and build our charts. And the last step, we have to take care of the format. So now let's go and start with the first step, where we have to analyze and understand the requirements and decide on the charts. Okay, so the first step before building anything of that, we have to go and understand the requirements. So let's have a look to the user story. So what do we have over here? We have to go and build a dashboard for the HR managers in order to analyze the human resources data. And we have to provide them with two views. One as a summary view for high-level insights, and another detailed view in order to show a list of employee records for in-depth analysis. So that means we might end up building two dashboards, but we will see. Let's start now focusing on the first section, the summary view. So the summary view should be divided into three main sections. This is about the dashboard. So we should have an overview section, demographics, and the income analysis. The first requirement for the first chart is going to be display the total number of hired, active, and terminated employees. So it sounds like we have different status of the employees. We have active and terminated. Now in the next step of that, we're gonna go and decide on the chart type. Since we are talking about the total number of employees, it's like a big number that we should present in the dashboard. So we can go and use the bands. Bands are a really great way in order to highlight the big numbers, the big measures inside our data in the dashboards. Alright, back to Tableau. But now before we start implementing any requirement, before we build any sheets or charts, we have to do an initial step, and that is by formatting the first sheet to be used as a template for all other requirements and all other sheets. So that means we're gonna go define the background, the colors, the fonts, everything to be prepared. And that's of course better than creating the sheets from scratch each time. So now the first preparation we're gonna do, we're gonna go to the format in the menu over here, and then let's go to the workbook. And now we're gonna go and define the font for the whole project. So let's go over here to all, and then let's go to the drop list. And for this project, I have decided to go with the Trebuchet MS. So let's go and select it. And now everything that I'm creating in dashboards and sheets, gonna be using this font. Alright, so now the next step is that we're gonna go and start adding the colors that we have defined for this project. So let's go to the marks over here and select the color, and let's go to more colors. So now we're gonna go and add our 4 colors. Let's go and start with the first cell over here. Just click on it and then go add the codes, and with that we have the green color over here. So let's go and click then add to custom colors. This of course is gonna help us to have a quick access to the colors that we defined for the projects. Now let's go and add the second color. So again the same steps, let's select the cell below it and add the code, and with that we have the pink color. Let's go and click on add to custom colors. Now the next two colors gonna be our basic colors, so select on the cell, add it, and with that we have our gray, and then add to custom colors. And now let's go and add the last one, the fourth one. It's gonna be the light gray, and as well add to custom colors. So with that we have our custom colors to be used in the whole project, those 4 colors. Let's go and hit OK. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna define the default font color for the whole project. Again, we're gonna go to the font over here, and then let's go to more colors, and let's pick the gray, and then select OK. Okay, so that's all for the colors and for the fonts. Now the next step is that we're gonna go and define the color of the background. So as we decided at the start, this project gonna be a dark theme. So let's go again to format, and then to shading, and then we're gonna go to the worksheet over here, and let's pick the first dark color. Okay, so now let's move to the next step. We want to go and change how the sheet is fitting the view. So for dashboarding, it's always good to have it as entire view. As a default, Tableau show it as a standard. So let's go and change it to entire view. So let's click on that, and with that the chart gonna take always the whole space that is available in the view. Alright, so now maybe one more thing, that's about the title. We don't want to show any titles in our dashboards. We're gonna go and create our own style. So right click on it and hide title. Alright, so with that we have done the initial steps, and we have now a template to be used for all other sheets. Alright, so now I would say let's go and save our work, and this is really amazing new feature from Tableau. we are allowed now in Tableau Public to store and save our work locally at our PC without publishing. So let's go and do that. This saves a lot of time. Let's go to File over here and Save As. And then we're gonna go to the types over here and to make sure that we are selecting Tableau Package Workbook TWBX. And now we can see over here we have a second option called Tableau Workbook TWB. I have as well a dedicated video explaining the differences between them, but we will go with the package because I would like to have everything: the data source, and the visuals. If you go with the second option, you will not save the data, you will be saving only your work, and it's gonna be really hard if you lost the connection to the data. So let's store everything in one file and choose the Tableau Packaged Workbook, and let's give it a name, HR Dashboards. So let's save it. And with that we are done. Let's start implementing the first requirement. Alright, so now the first step in that, we're gonna go and ask ourselves, do we have all the data in order to build our visual? So what do we need? We need the total hired employees, total active employees, and terminated. So now if you check our data over here, we don't have any information about the status of the employee, right? So that means we have to go now and create calculated fields in order to derive and generate those informations. So the first one is total hired employee, which is all records available in this data set. We have this as a default over here, but I would like to go and create a new one. So let's go and create a new calculated field. Let's give it a name called total hired, and this is going to be very easy. It's going to be the count function for the employee IDs. So that's it. So let's go and click OK. And now the next one, we want the total number of employees that are terminated. So now we have to take a look to our data in order to choose a column in order to build this logic. And we have here the termination date. And the logic can be very simple. If we have termination date for the employee, then this employee is terminated. Otherwise, the employee is active. Let's go and create this logic. So let's call it total terminated. And now we're going to have the following logic. So since it's logic, we're going to go and use the function if. So if not is null for the term date. So we are saying if the termination date is not null, so we have a value inside it. So what's going to happen? Then show the employee ID. And that's it. So let's have an end. So that means if it is null, so we have a null value inside it, we will get as well null. Let's go and test the logic. I'm going to just click OK. And of course, in order to test stuff, I'm going to have like a test worksheet just to check the data. So I need the records of the employees. Let's get the employee ID. Yes, add all members. And now let's take the termination date as well over here and our new field total terminated as well to the output. So now as you can see over here, we have all the employee IDs. This is normal. And then we have the termination date. So as you can see, if it is null, then our new field can have as well a null. So since we don't have termination dates for those employees, then they are active. So we have here nulls. But only if we have a date, then our new field gonna show the ID. And why we are doing that? Because we want to go and count how many IDs do we have inside this new column. So that means our logic is working. What we're gonna do now, we're gonna go and edit again the calculation, and we will do on top of it over here just a count. So we are counting how many employee IDs gonna be used or shown after this logic. So that's it. This is the total terminated. And to get the total active employees that are actively hired and not terminated, we're gonna use exactly the same logic but the way around. So let's go and copy everything from here and click OK. So of course we're gonna get a red one because Tableau used to have it as a dimension and it's not working anymore. So let's go and drop it. And one more thing, as you can see here, we have it as a blue pill, the total terminated. Let's go and convert it to a continuous because it is a measure, not a dimension. And now let's go and create our third one. So it's gonna be the total active. And let's have the same logic, but before we start counting, I will just remove those stuff away. I would like to test the logic. So if is null, so if the terminated date is empty, then show the employee ID. Let's go and test it. So I'm gonna hit OK. And the same thing, let's go and drop it to the view over here. So now as you can see here, we have exact opposite. If the terminate date is empty, then show the employee ID, right? And if we have a value like here for this employee, then don't show any value. And now the same thing, we're gonna go and summarize all those values. So let's go and edit it again and add a count like this and hit OK. And again, it will not work over here and we have to change it as well from a blue pill to a green one to continuous. Alright, so with that we got our new 3 measures that we're gonna use inside our bands. So let's go back to our templates over here, and since the band is only one number, we don't need any dimensions in the view, so let's go and drop the education level, and the first one is gonna be the total hired. Let's go and drop it on the text, and of course I would not leave it as automatic. I'm gonna make sure it's always a text, and our number is here on the right side. So let's go and change the setup. Let's go first to the text, to the 3 points, and now we're gonna go and change the font size to 18, and as well the color to our light dark. So let's go and hit OK, and as well OK. So now we still have it on the right side, but it's way bigger than before. Let's go to the alignment and everything to the center, to the middle. So that's it. This is the first big number from our dataset. So the total number of employees inside our dataset is 8,950. So let's give it a name as well. It's gonna be the band of hired. So we are done with the first one. Let's go to the second one. We want to have the total active. Instead of creating a new sheet from scratch, we're gonna go and duplicate it. So right click on it and duplicate. So all what we have to do is to take the total active, drop it on the text over here, remove the old one, and let's go inside in order to make sure that everything is fine. So we have here a new line at the start. Let's remove it and hit OK. So that's it. Let's go and give it a name. You are the band of active. Okay, now let's go and create the last one. Let's go and duplicate it again. You are the band of terminated. Okay, and let's go and get the total terminated to the text over here and drop the old one away, and as well remove the new line. So that means the total terminated employees inside our data is 966. Alright, so those are the 3 big numbers, the 3 bands for the first requirement, the hired, active and terminated employees. Alright, moving on to the next requirement, and it says visualize the total number of employees hired and terminated over the years. So we have to display how the number of employees are developing over the time, and the best type of charts for this type of analysis is the line charts. Of course, you can go as well with a bar chart, but the line chart is the best in order to visualize the trends over time. Okay, so back to Tableau, let's go and create our line chart. What we're gonna do at the start, we're gonna go and duplicate one of those sheets in order to have the same style, and then let's go and rename it. It's gonna be hired by year. Okay, and let's go and remove the measure over here, and now we have an empty chart. So since it's over the time, we need a date field, and this is gonna be the hire date. Let's drag and drop it to the columns over here, and then the next one, we need a measure, and it's gonna be the total hired. So let's drop it to the rows, and of course our chart is a line chart, so let's go to the marks over here and make it a line. Okay, so now by looking to the charts, we have a lot of unnecessary informations over here that we don't need. Let's go and edit this axe, and let's remove include zeros like this, and now the data looks way better. And now the next step is that we're gonna go and edit the design of these charts. So first, let's go to the colors over here and pick our colors. So more colors, and let's pick the green. And the next step is that I would like to go and highlight all the area below the line. So let's go and get an area chart below it. It's just for the design. So in order to do that, we're gonna go to our measure, hold Control, and just duplicate it as a second measure. And with that, we have, of course, 2 charts. One gonna stay as a line, but the second one gonna be an area chart. Let's go to the second one over here and change the type to an area chart. Alright, so now the next step is that we're gonna go and merge those 2 charts into one using the dual axe. So let's go to the right measure over here and let's use the dual axes. And of course now things are not matching together because here we have removed the zeros. Let's go to the right one, right click on it and synchronize axis. And now the line chart is exactly matching the area chart. And now we can go and get rid of all those lines and stuff. So let's go and remove the headers from the left side and as well from the years, and we want to get rid of all those grids. So right click over here and go to format, and now we go to the lines and let's go to the rows. I remove the grid lines, let's make it none. But now looking to the chart, there is like a white box around our chart. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to the grid over here and then go to sheet and let's remove everything from here. So remove the row divider and as well the column divider. So with that, it's look really clean, but still it looks like not a line chart, it looks like an area chart. Let's go and change that. Let's go to the area chart and let's go to colors and let's go and reduce the opacity to 15. So like this. And one more thing, we can go and reduce the size of the line. Let's go to the line over here and make it a little bit like thinner. Alright, so I'm happy with that. It looks nice, right? So with that, we got the total hired employee over the time. Now we need the same chart, but not for the hired, for the terminated. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go and duplicate this, and let's give it the name. It's gonna be terminated by year. And of course, we have to go and change all those informations. So now we have to go and replace the hire date with a terminate date. So let's go and replace it. You can do it on top of it in order to replace it. So now we have the termination date instead of the hire date. And now we have to go and replace the measures as well. We need the total terminated on top of the first one and the same thing on top of the second one. So now by looking to the data, we have here nulls because we have employees without any terminations. We don't need that. So let's go and hide it. So right click on it and click hide. And we don't need to remove any zeros because the first value is 1 and it's very close. So we are fine with that. Let's go and hide all those informations left and right and as well from here. So remove the headers. So now let's go and change as well the color of this. Instead of green, we're gonna have a pink for the terminated. So let's stay at all and then let's go to colors and to more colors and pick our second color over here and click OK. And with that, we are applying the same color on both charts, the line and the area. Alright, so we are almost there, but there's like a white dotted line over here. Let's go and remove it. So let's go to format, and I believe it is a line and it is the 0 line. So let's go to the sheet and remove the 0 lines and let's have a none. Okay, perfect. So with that, we are done. We have now the total terminated employees over the time by the years. And with that, the requirement is solved. Okay, so let's move to the next task, and it says present a breakdown of total employees by department and job titles. So that means we have to go and analyze and compare the values between different categories, the departments. So that means we are talking about the category magnitude, and the best chart in this category is to go and use the bar chart. And now, my friends, if you need a deeper knowledge on how to choose the correct chart, I have made a dedicated tutorial about this topic, explaining the different types of chart categories, when to use which category, and what is the best chart for each category. So now let's go and build a bar chart for this requirement. Okay, so let's go and build it. We're gonna duplicate as usual, and let's give it a name. It's gonna be the departments. And as well, what we're gonna do, we're gonna go and remove everything, all those dimensions and measures. And now it's very simple. Let's go and get the departments to the rows, and we need the total hired to the columns. And of course, we have to go and change the marks to the bars. Now, of course, because of the previous charts, we go and change the opacity to 100%. And as well, let's go and pick the green color for this chart. And now, since we are using the bar chart, it would be nice if we go and sort the data. So let's go to the axis over here and click on sort. So with that, it is descending. We have the department with the highest employees until we have the last one is the lowest. So now, since we are using a bar chart, it looks like a rank, right? So we are ranking the departments by the employees. We can go now and add like a nice index, a nice rank number near those departments. In order to do that, let's go to the rows over here to the empty space, double click on it, and now we can go and use the function index. We can use it in order to do ranking. So let's go and hit OK. And of course, it's going to break everything because it's a measure. Let's go and convert it to discrete. So now, as you can see, we have a nice rank to those departments. So we have 1, 2, 3, and so on. We can go and move it to the left side to the names of the departments. And it's like a quick indicators for the ranks. So that's it. Now let's go and format the charts by removing all those unnecessary stuff. We're going to go to the axis, remove the header. Let's go to this department over here, right click on it and hide field label. And now, of course, we're going to go and remove all those lines. Let's go to format. And now let's go to the left side to the lines. Let's go to columns and remove the grid lines to none. Alright, so that's it. Now we can see the total number of employees by departments and we have a nice rank for it. Okay, moving on to the next requirement, it says compare the total employees between HQ and the branches. And here as an info, New York is the HQ. So it's like the previous analysis where we have to compare the values between different categories, the HQ and the branches. And the bar chart here is the best type of chart for this analysis. Okay, so now let's go and create it. As usual, we're going to create a new sheet by duplicating any of the previous ones. Let's call it location. And now, of course, the first question is, do we have the informations in the data sets? We don't have any fields about the HQ and the branches. But about the locations, we have only two informations, the city and the state. But in the requirement, we have a hint where it says the state New York is the HQ. That means all the other states are branches. So again, we have to go and create this logic. So let's go back to our test over here and let's go and get the states to the list. And now we're going to create very simple logic where we are checking the value of the state. If it is New York, then it's HQ, otherwise it is branch. So let's go and create a new calculated field. Let's give it a name, location. And now since we are evaluating a value from a column, we're gonna go and use the logical function case statement. So we're gonna say case, and then what we are evaluating the state, right? So let's write state. So now let's evaluate the first value, which is the New York, right? Make sure to write it exactly like we have it in the dataset. So the first capital letter, and as well here. So what happens if the state is in New York? Then you are the HQ, right? It's like this. And now if the state is not in New York, then it is a branch. So we're gonna go and use the default else like this. And what's gonna be? They're gonna be the branch. So that's it. And don't forget to add an end like this. So let's go and hit OK. And now with that, we got a new field called location. Let's go and test, of course, to the right side over here. So now we can see in this field, we have branches and HQ. Now, in order to see all the values of the states, I don't want to see all the employees. So let's go and remove all those informations, and now we can see very nicely how the states are mapped to the location. So only New York is HQ, all other states are branches. So now we have the field that we need for the requirement, right? So let's go back to the locations over here and let's get rid of those dimensions. We don't need it. We're gonna stay with the total hired, but now we need our new calculated field to the rows. Now I would like to go and switch this charts where we have the locations and the rows. I'm gonna go and click on this, and they are switched. So that's it. As you can see, we can now go and compare the total employees between the HQ and the branches. And as you can see in the HQ, we have way more employees than the other branches. So of course, now the next step is that we're going to go and change the designs over here. Let's take the location and put it to the colors by holding Control, of course. And then let's go to the colors and edit colors. Now let's go to the HQ, double click on it in order to get our green, and as well to the branches, double click on it, and let's get the gray for the branches. And I would like to sort the data the way around. I would like to have the HQ first, then the branch. Let's go to the location, right click on it, then go to the sort, and we're gonna go and sort it manually. I would like always to have the HQ to the left side. So HQ on top and then the branches. All right, so now let's go and remove some headers informations from here. And of course, as usual, we're gonna go and get rid of those white lines. So let's go to format, and then let's go to the lines, and then here, the axis rollers, let's go and select none. And as well, I'm gonna go to the next one, X ticks, and let's have none as well. And now on the right side over here, you can see we have a legend. We're gonna go and hide it since we want in the dashboard to design our own legends. So let's go over here to this small arrow and hide card. Alright, so that's it for this requirement. Okay, let's go to the next requirement, and it says show the distribution of employees by city and state. So now since we are talking about the location informations like the states and the cities, here we are talking about the spatial analysis. And of course, the maps are the best visual for this type of analysis. Alright, so now let's go and create a map in Tableau. We're gonna go and duplicate the sheets in order to have the same design. Let's give it a name, map states. And let's go and remove everything in order to start from 0. So now in order to plot a map in Tableau, we have to go and get those two informations, the longitude to the columns and the latitude to the rows. So with that, Tableau gonna plot the world map in the view. So now what do we need? We need the locations. Let's go and get the states first to the details. So let's drop it over here. And now depend on your location, you're gonna get different results. For me, since I'm now in Germany, it's gonna say you have now 8 unknown informations. So how are we gonna solve it? We're gonna go to the map in the menu over here, and then we're gonna go to this option, edit locations. So let's go there. Now it's currently to Germany. I'm gonna go and change it to USA. So let's search for USA, and that's it. So now as you can see, we have everything mapped correctly between my locations and the informations from Tableau. So now if I hit OK over here, the unknown stuff will be disappeared. So let's go and do that. So now as you can see, Tableau understood the informations and zoom into USA, but here we have very funny bars on the maps. It's not correct. So let's go to the marks over here and switch it to a map. So now as you can see, Tableau is highlighting the states from our data with the green color. So now I would like to go and change the design of this map. Let's go to the menu and then map, and then we're gonna go to this option, background layers. Since the style of our dashboard is gonna be dark, I'm gonna go and change the style from light to dark. And I would like to go and get rid of all those informations that I don't need. So let's go and deselect everything from the layers. So we don't need anything. Alright, so with that, I'm happy we got a very clean map with only states and information that we need. So now let's go and add the stuff that we want. So the first thing is that I would like to add again the name of the states. So hold Control, drag and drop the state to the labels. So now with that, we got only the states from our data highlighted in the map. The next step is that I'm gonna go and change as well the color based on the hired employees. So let's close this over here and get hire employees. to the colors. And now Tableau is using another colors that we want. So let's go to the colors, edit colors. So now instead of having automatic, we're gonna have our custom coloring, right? So let's go to the blue over here, click on it, and we're gonna have our green again. So that's it. So with that, we got our coloring. Now it's really white. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to the colors again, and let's go and reduce the opacity. So let's just reduce it. And maybe more. Let's go and reduce more to maybe 30. All right, so what else we can do? We can just highlight the borders of the cards. It looks really nice. So let's go to border and choose this color over here. And with that, we have nice borders between the states. So that's it. We have now the total employees for each state, but now we have to have it as well for the city, right? So let's go to the city over here and add it as a new layer on top of our map. So let's drop it over here. And now we don't have enough points. What we're gonna do, we're gonna add as well the states to the details. And now with this, Tableau is able to map all the cities to the states. And as you can see, we have those small circles. So now let's go and add, for example, the total hired to the size. So if the circle is bigger, that means we have more employees, but I would like to increase it a little bit more, like this maybe. And as well, let's go and add the coloring. Maybe we're gonna go with the location information. So let's go and get the locations to the colors. So that means the gray dots are the branches and only the green one is the HQ. Now let's go and change a little bit the design of those circles. Let's go to the colors. And now let's go and add a border for it using our colors. It's gonna be green one. And then let's go and reduce the opacity, maybe something like this, way back to around maybe 30. All right. Okay, I'm happy with that. On the right side, as you can see, we have those legends. Let's go and remove them. So hide and as well hide. Okay, so far I'm happy with this design. We got the total employees by the states and as well by the cities, and we fulfilled the requirement. All right, so with that, we have covered all the requirement of the overview section. Now let's move to the next one. We have the demographics. So the first requirement in the demographic section is present the gender ratio in the company. So we have to analyze the gender proportions in our data, and we call this type of analysis part-to-whole analysis. And the pie chart is a wonderful chart in order to do this type of analysis. Okay, so let's create pie chart in Tableau. We're gonna go to the locations over here and duplicate it in order to use the same setup. Move it to the right side and let's give it the name gender. So like this, and let's get rid of all those informations to start from 0. So now, of course, the question is, do we have the data? Well, yes, we have the gender information in our data, so we don't have to go and create any calculated field. So let's start with the marks. I would change it from bar to pie. And now in order to create pie chart in Tableau, we have to go and do some tricks. So let's go to the columns, double click on it, and let's select the average and 0. So it is a placeholder for a visual or chart in Tableau. So now for the pie chart, I have a full detailed video on how to create it step by step. Now we have to do it a little bit quickly. So for the pie chart, we need 2 circles, one for the inner circle and another one for the outer circle. So that means we need 2 visuals, and that's why I'm gonna have 2 placeholders for it. So hold Control and duplicate it. And with that, we have 2 circles, and now let's go and have a dual axis for both of them. And make sure to synchronize the axes and as well to hide it, and from below as well. So now we have 2 circles on top of each others. Now let's go and configure those informations. Let's go to all first, to the size, and make it a little bit bigger like this. And here we have 2 marks. The first one is for the outer circle and the second is for the inner circle. In order to see the coloring, we're gonna go and change the inner circle to something dark. And as well, what you're gonna do, we're gonna go to the sides over here and reduce it in order to see. As you can see, we have already a pie chart, right? And now usually in the pie chart, we show the total aggregation in the middle, and that is the total hired. So take the total hired and put it to the labels over here. And now as you can see, we have a very nice number in the middle. Now let's go and configure the outer circle, right? So let's go to the first chart over here. And of course, we want to divide the chart by the gender. So let's go and take the gender and put it to the colors. Now let's go and edit the colors. So edit the colors. Now, of course, I will not go with pink and green because the pink means in our dashboard terminated employees and we cannot use it over here. So we're gonna stay with the green. So let's go to male over here and let's go and get the green, but this time I'm gonna make it a little bit darker like this and then hit OK. And now let's go to the female. We're gonna take it as well as green, but make it lighter. maybe something like this, way lighter. Okay, so now as you can see, the circle is splitted to two sides. Now we need as well few informations on top of this circle. So let's go and get the gender, or let's copy it from here, hold control and put it to the labels. And as well, we need the percentage of the employees. So let's go and get the total hired to the label over here, but we don't need it as an absolute number. We would like it as a percentage. So right click on the measure and let's go and have a quick table calculation. So with that, we got a percentage for male and female, but I would like to round those numbers. So again, let's go to our measure and format it. Then let's go to the left side over here, and instead of automatic, let's go to percentage and reduce the decimal places. And with that, we are rounding the percentage. So now as you can see in the chart, we have for the male 54 and for the female 46. It looks really nice, and let's go and close it. So now this calculation, I think we're gonna need it later in other charts. I would like to have it in the data source so that I don't have to go each time and format and create this table calculation. So let's go and drag and drop it to our data source. So now as you can see on the left side, we have a new measure. It's called calculation 1. Let's go and rename it. So let's give the percentage total hired. So this is really nice in order to reuse the stuff that we have already created, and it is a new calculated field. So in order to check the formula for that, let's go and edit the field, and you can see it's very simple, the total hired divided by the total hired. Alright, so that's it for this requirement. Now we have a really nice pie chart in order to see the distribution of employees between genders. Wait, sorry, one more thing, we have to remove the legends, so we are not done yet. So let's go and hide it. Alright, that's it. Okay, moving on to the next requirement, and it says display the distribution of employees across age groups and education levels. So now we have to show the relationship, the correlation between two categories, two dimensions, the age groups and the education levels. And one of the best charts for this type of analysis is the heat map in order to show the relationship and correlations between two dimensions. Okay, so let's go and build the heat map. As usual, we're gonna go and duplicate stuff. Let's give it a name. It's gonna be age versus education. And now let's go and get rid of everything like this. So now the first question is, do we have all informations in the data source? Well, we have something about the education level, so we are safe with this, but we don't have ages. So now, of course, we can go and calculate the age from the birthday, right? So here we have the birthday informations, and we can use it in order to generate the ages. So we have to go to our test again in order to see whether everything is working fine. Let's go and add again an employee ID in order to have the level of employees. And let's go and get the birth date to the view. So now let's go and create the logic of the age. We're gonna go and create a new calculated field, and let's call it an age. So now, of course, how do we calculate the age? It is the number of years between the birthday and today, right? So let's go and do that. So we have to go and subtract today from the birth dates, and we can go and use the dateDiff function. So now, of course, the age is based on the number of years. We have to specify here the date part. So it's gonna be year. What is the starting day? It is the birth date. And what is the end date? It's gonna be the function today. The today function is a Tableau function that generates the current date as we are speaking now. So that's it. It's very simple, right? Let's go and hit OK. And with that, we got a measure, continuous measure, because of course it's ages. So let's drop it to the output in order to see the results. Now we're gonna have it as a measure. I would like it to have it as a dimension. So let's convert it to dimension, and as well to discrete in order to see the numbers. So let's put it beside the birth date. And now we have ages, right? I think this is the simplest one. So if you check this employee over here, you can see birthday is 2000 and we have around 24 years. Of course, if you are doing this project in the 2025, you will get the age of 25. As I'm recording this video, we are at 2024. It's really interesting when you are doing this project, so write it in the comment below. And now, of course, the task says we need age groups. We don't need ages. So in order to create age groups, we have to go and create again a new calculated field on top of the age. So let's go and create a new calculated field. Okay, so let's give it the name age groups, and we're gonna go and use the if else statements in order to group up the employees to a specific range. So let's start with the first one, the youngest employees. All the employees that their age is below or younger 25 gonna be in one range. So we're gonna say if the age like this younger than 25, then they belong to the group younger than 25. Like this. Alright, so now let's go and define the second group. It's all employees between 25 and 35. So we have 10 years in between. So all employees where their age is older or equal 25 and their age as well is younger than 35, like this, and they all belong to one group, which is between 25 and 34, because here we are not including the 35. So that's it for this group. Let's go to the next group. I'm just gonna go and copy paste it over here. We will just increase the number of years between 35 and 45, and the same thing over here, 35 and 44. Let's go and add another group. It's gonna be between the 45 and the 55. So let's just increase everything with 10 years. And as well over here. So now let's move to the last group, to the nicest group, where we have all employees where they are older or equal to the age of 55. So else if age it is older or equal to 55, then we're gonna have 55 plus. So that's it. Now we have covered all the groups that we have inside our data. Let's go and end it, of course, right? Everything is valid. Let's go and hit OK. And with that, we have now a new dimension, and which is on the top over here, age groups. So let's go and put it in the output in order to check the results. And what else I'm going to do in order to test? Let's show it as a filter, and let's start with the youngest generation, the employees where they are younger than 25. So now, as you can see, all those ages is less than 25, which is correct. Let's move to the last one as well, to the oldest employees over here. As you can see, they are all older than 55 or equal. So as you can see, it is as well working. Let's check another one over here. So employees between 35 and 44, and everything looks nice. Let's check this one between 25 and 34. And as you can see, everything looks perfect. Okay, so now let's go back to our sheets, age versus educations. Let's get first the age groups to the columns, and then let's get the education levels to the rows. So now we have our matrix, but it is not sorted correctly. So let's go and sort those dimensions. Right click on the age groups and let's go to sort. So now the next step, in order to have a heat map, let's go and change it from pie to circles. Nothing gonna change, just to make sure we are not talking about pie. And now, of course, what controls those circles is the number of employees. Let's go and get the total hired to the size. So now we have our heat map, but as you can see, those dimensions are not sorted correctly. So let's go and sort it. Let's go to the age group, right click on it and go to sort. And then we want to sort it manually. So the first is the youngest group, then 25, 35. So it looks good. Let's close it. And the same thing for the education level. Let's go and sort it as well manual. So from education, we're going to start with the high school, then bachelor, master, and PhD. So now it looks better. Let's go and close it. And now from designs, we don't have any access or anything. I will just go and change the colors because I would like to decide later on the dashboard. So I would say let's go with the gray. Let's go and hit OK. And of course, don't forget about this legend. Let's remove it. So hide it. And if you check the data, it's very interesting. You have the most employees in the category between 35 and 44 as an age group, and most of them have the bachelor. So with that, we can go and analyze the correlation and relationship between the age groups and the education levels of the employees. Okay, let's move to the next one, and it says show the total number of employees within each age group. So again, here we have the comparison analysis in order to compare the values within category, and as usual, the bar chart is the best one. So let's go and build it. As usual, duplicate one of those charts, and let's rename it to age groups. This one gonna be very simple. So we need the age groups, but we don't need the education level. And let's go and remove the sizes as well. We need the total hired as a rows, and instead of circle, we need bars. So that's it. It's very simple, and as well, it is already sorted because I've duplicated the previous one. So the sorting of the age group is correct. Let's go and hide this axis over here, and that's it for this requirement. Okay, let's jump to the next one. It's very similar. It says show the total number of employees within each education level. So we're gonna go with the same visual, the bar chart, in order to compare the different values within a category. All right, so we're gonna do the same stuff. Let's go and duplicate this one over here, and let's call it education levels. And we have to go and replace this dimension with the education level. So instead of age groups, we're gonna have it like this. But now, of course, we have lost the sorting of this dimension. Let's go and sort it again. So let's go sort, and it's gonna be manual. And the high school is first, bachelor, master, PhD, which is correct. So again, bar charts are really easy. Okay, let's move to the last requirement in this section, and it says present the correlation between employees' education levels and their performance rating. So for this requirement, we're gonna go again with the heat map, since we have to show the relationship between two dimensions, two categories. Okay, so let's build another heat map. So as usual, we're gonna go and duplicate stuff, and we're gonna rename it to education versus performance. So of course, the first question, do we have all those informations? Yes, we have the performance and as well the education. So we don't have to go and create any calculated fields. So we need the two dimensions, the education, we have it already over here. Let's go and get the performance rating, and let's check the marks from bars to maybe squares like this. And let's go and get that total hired to the size. All right, so now by checking the data, we have to go and sort, I think, the performance. It's not correct. Let's go and sort it again as a manual. So it starts with excellent, good, and then satisfactory. That means we're gonna have it a step above needs improvement. Okay, so that looks good. Let's go and close it. And now as we can see, we have the highest group is between bachelor and good, which is okay because we have a lot of employees having the bachelor compared to the PhD. So instead of having the absolute numbers, let's go and get instead of that the percentage, which is gonna show the correlation more accurate. So instead of having the total hired, I will just remove it. Let's go get this total percentage from hired to the size. And now the percentage doesn't make really a lot of sense because here we have 72%, 65%. I think this is cross table. So let's go to the measure over here, right click on it, compute using not table across. So instead of that, let's go and change the calculation to performance rating. So because we are focusing on the performance, let's go and click on that. So now it looks more accurate. If you go, for example, to the employees with PhD, as you can see, 48% of them having excellent rating. And then the next one we have good, satisfy, and as well the last one needs improvement, only 5%. So as you can see, the highest group of employees with PhD having the excellent rating. Let's go now and check the high school. So here we can see this group is smaller compared to the PhD. We have here only 13% of employees with high school education having an excellent, where we see here a big bubble where we have 34% of employees with high school that needs improvements. So we can understand from this data that is generated from AI that there is correlation between the education level and the performance rating. The high education level might enhance and increase the performance rating. But of course, this is not a rule. It depends on a lot of stuff like the field of work, the skills, and so on. So not only the education level gonna improve the performance, but in this data we can see there is a correlation. And of course, one more thing before we close, we have to go and hide the legends, right? So with that, we are done with this requirement. Alright friends, let's move to the third section, and we have the income analysis. So in this section, we're going to focus on the salary-based matrix, and we have here two requirements. The first requirement says compare the salaries across different education levels for both genders to identify any discrepancies or patterns. So in this requirement, we want to see the differences in salary between the different genders. So this is not only correlation, we are talking as well about something called gap analysis. And the best chart, the visual, the gap analysis is the barbell chart. And this is exactly why I go with the barbell chart instead of the heat map, because with the barbell chart, I can very clearly and easily show the distance between values, and as well we can show the correlation between two different dimensions and categories. So for this requirement, I will not go with the heat map since I cannot show the distance between values. I will go with the barbell charts. Okay, so let's build a barbell chart in Tableau. We're gonna go and duplicate stuff as usual, and let's give it a name. It's gonna be gender versus education level. So that's it, and let's go and clean everything from here. But we're gonna still need the education level as a rows because we have it already sorted correctly. So what is a barbell chart? It contains 2 points and the distance between them as a line. So we need two charts, one for the line and another one for the points. So let's go and create it. We need the salary information. So as you can see, we have it over here. Let's go and drop it to the columns. And we don't need the sum of salaries, we need the average salary. So let's go and change the calculation of the measure from sum to average. So since we need two charts, we need two measures, and we are using the same measure. So let's go hold Control and duplicate it. So with that, we have two charts. So as we said before, one gonna be a line and another gonna be points, data points. So let's start with the first one. Let's go over here and change it from square to a line. And now since we want to show the distance between the gender values, we need to go and get the gender informations and put it to the path. So with that, we got like the lines, the distance, the gap between points. So let's go and make it bigger in order to see those informations to the max. Alright, so now let's move to the next one where we're gonna configure the points of the genders, right? So let's go to the second mark over here, and instead of square, let's go and get the shapes. And now for the shapes, we're gonna have the gender informations. So let's go and drag and drop the gender to the shapes. And now as you can see, we have our two genders, but I think we have better shapes for that. Let's go to the shapes. Instead of default, let's go over here, and we have already from Tableau gender shapes. So let's go over here. So that's it. Let's hit OK. And as you can see, we have those signs, but they are really dark. Let's go and get as well the gender to the colors. So hold Control and put it to the colors. So as you can see on the right side, we have now those symbols, but they are really small. Let's go and change the size of that, something like maybe to the middle. Alright, like this. So now the next step with that, we're gonna go and put everything in one chart. Now they are splitted. So let's go to one of those and use the dual axis, and make sure that we synchronize the axis as well. Now we still have here a huge space where it's not used. So let's go and configure the axis. So edit axis and make sure to remove include zeros. So that's it. Now it looks really nice. Now, of course, we can go and add a label for the average sales. So let's go over here and let's get the average sales, hold Control and put it to the labels. It's not really clear, so let's go and change the font. So let's go to label and go inside it. And let's go and use our second gray. Let's get the light gray and hit OK. Now we can see the numbers are really big. Let's go and change the format of the salary. So right click on it and go to format, and let's go to the numbers over here and as well to the custom number. Let's go and remove the decimals. And now the display unit's gonna be thousands. Okay, so I'm still not happy about the symbols and the text. Let's go to the labels and change the alignment. Currently it's middle center. Let's go and change it to automatic. It's way better. So with that, we have the symbols and as well the numbers beside it. And of course, don't forget about the final touch. Let's go and remove all those headers from top and bottom. Let's not forget about the legends. Let's go and remove it. And now we have very clean charts. Alright, so now let's understand the result of these insights. As you can see, the average salary of male and female with high school educations, they are relative equal, right? But now if you go and check the bachelor, you can see the average sales for male is way higher than female. So as you can see, the purple chart is really amazing. You can see immediately the gap, the distance between those two values. So the males are getting way more salaries than the female with the education level of bachelor. And now let's go and check another huge distance between the genders if you check the education level PhD. So as you can see, we have a huge distance, a gap between the genders, but this time is the way around. On average, the female doctors are earning around like 25% more than male doctors. So as you can see, the purple chart is amazing in order to understand the distance and the gap between data points, and as well to have correlation analysis. So this is amazing visual, and that's all for this requirement. Okay friends, now we're gonna move to the second requirement of the income analysis and the last requirement in the summary view, and it says present how the age correlates with the salary for employees in each department. So this time we want to show the correlation, the relationship between two measures, not two dimensions like the heat map, two measures. And of course, the best type of chart here is the scatter plot. The scatter plot is amazing in order to show the correlation between measures. Alright, so now let's go and build a scatter plot in Tableau. As usual, we're gonna go and duplicate the sheets and we're gonna rename it to age versus salary. So do we have those informations in our data? Well, yes, we have the age and salary. So we don't have to create any calculated fields. Let's go and clean up those informations. Let's remove everything. We don't need all those stuff. So now let's start from the scratch. Since it's correlation between two measures, we have to go and add our two measures. So the first one gonna be the salary. So let's go and drop it to the rows, and we need the ages. So let's go and drop it to the columns. And of course, we don't need the summarization of salary and ages. We need the average. So let's go and change that. So let's go and change it from summary to average, and the same for the age, from sum to average. Alright, great. So now we got our two axes, our two measures, and make sure that we are using the marks of shapes. We got it from the previous chart. So now what is missing? We need the data point, and it's gonna be the job title. So let's go and get the job title and put it on the details. And now as you can see, we got our data points, but we have here huge wasted space, and that's because we are including the 0 in the axis. So let's go and clean that up, edit axis, I remove the 0, and the same thing for the average. edit the axis and remove 0 like this. So now I would say let's go and change the shape. Instead of circle, let's get it a filled diamond like this. And now sometimes we have overlapping between points. It would be nice if we reduce the opacity to something like 75. Alright, so now let's go and add labels for those data points, and it's gonna be the job title. So hold Control, job title to the labels. And now let's go and reduce maybe the font size from 9 to 8, something like that. So now, of course, in order to get the effect of scatter plots, let's go and add reference lines for both of the axes. Let's go to the salary over here, right click on it, and let's add a reference line. So let's go and check the informations. Average lines, let's remove the label, and maybe we can have custom tooltip like this, average. And let's go and insert the value. So now let's go and format it. It's gonna be -1, a thin one, and let's use our gray color like this. So that's it, let's hit OK. And with that we have a very thin average line. Let's do the same for the ages. So add reference line, so no label, and let's add a tooltip like this, average, and the value. And the same format for the line, it's going to be -1, thin, and as well our gray color. So that's it, let's hit OK. So with that we have created a really nice scatter plot. So now if you check the jobs, like most of them are managers, right? We have your IT manager, finance manager, HR, and so on. So most of them are managers, but we have 3 types of jobs that are getting high salary, but they are not managers, like software developer, and we have here system administrator and finance analyst. And as you can see below the line, we have different types of jobs, but none of them are managers. So it makes sense, of course, managers are getting higher salary than the other jobs, but still there's some jobs that are getting high in salary. So now we are just checking the salary, only one measure. Now let's check the correlation between the age and summary, thinking about 2 things. So now if you take a look back, we have a group of jobs that are centralized in the middle, which is okay, but here we have extremes like the HR manager and the finance manager. The HR managers are getting high salary even though they are young employees. And as well, it is the only manager group that having young age. If you compare to the other manager jobs, they are like around 40. So this is one extreme in the data. So now let's go and check the way on top to the right, we have the finance managers. So they are getting on average the highest salaries inside our data, and as well the average age is relative old. So this is one extreme, and as you can see we have another position, the IT manager is as well like moving toward this direction, right? So my friends, this is what we can understand from our data from the scatter plots, and that's all for this requirement. Alright friends, so with that we have covered all the requirements for the first dashboard, the summary dashboard, and we built as well the charts. And after that we have to go and put everything, all those charts, in one single consolidated Tableau dashboard. Alright, so now we're gonna go and build the summary dashboard, and here what we're gonna do. First we have to create a plan where we're gonna go and sketch out the mockups for the dashboard and the containers in order to have a plan for the layout. And after that we're gonna go and create the container structure of the dashboard in order to put all those charts in one single view. And after we have all the charts in one place, we will start with the refining and fine-tuning process. So we're gonna go and tweak and twist a lot of stuff like the text, colors, icons, legends, filters, to get everything looking just right. So are you ready? Let's start with the first step where we're gonna go and plan the dashboard for the summary view. For this project, I have decided to have around 15 charts in one single dashboard. It is definitely a challenge, but don't worry about it, we're gonna do it step by step. Now, of course, we will not jump immediately by creating the dashboards because we will struggle without a plan. Any professional in any project knows that before building anything, we have to have a plan, we have to have a blueprint. And of course, we want to be professionals, right? That's why we have to go and plan the dashboard by sketching the mockup of the container and of the dashboards. So now, of course, the question is how we're gonna do it. Of course, you can go old style by just having a pen and paper, and you can go and draw the sketch of the dashboard. Or you can go and use digital tools like, for example, PowerPoint, or like I'm doing here, Procreate using my tablet. Or you can go and use tools like Figma or Draw. So any tools that helps you to design and to sketch the mockup of your dashboard that suits your fancy. So let's go and sketch the mockup of our dashboard. The background gonna be dark gray, and that's because we are making a dark theme. So now we're gonna have the usual stuff where we have a title for the dashboard, human resources dashboard. And now in their summary requirement, we have 3 sections, and that's why we're gonna go now and divide our dashboard into 3 main sections. We have overview, demographics, and income. So now let's focus on the overview and put everything that is required in this one section. So we're gonna start with the big numbers, the bands. So the first one is gonna be the active employees, and here we have a big number, and then we're gonna split it into 2 sections. The left side gonna be the hired employees, and to the right side we're gonna have another big number for the terminated employees. And now in order to have the effect of the KPI, what we're gonna do, we're gonna put the line charts exactly below those big numbers. Now below it we're gonna have another section for the departments, and here we're gonna have our ranking of the departments using the bar charts. Then below it we're gonna have the last section in the overview, we have the location. And here we have 2 charts. We have the one with the bar chart where we show the number of employee in the HQ and the branches, and the other chart here we have a map. So we're gonna put the maps and the bar charts side by side in this subsection. As you can see, it's not really easy to fit everything in one place. So that's all for the overview. Now let's go to the right section, to the demographics, and here we have a big challenge. We have to fit in this section 5 different charts. The first section is about the gender, so we have our pie charts, but now for the age and educations we have 2 separate bar charts. So what we can do here, we can integrate all those 3 charts in one block. So in the center we're gonna have the heat map, but on the top and to the right we can have those bar charts. And with that we have all those 3 charts in one subsection. Now to the right side, to the last section, we're gonna have the performance and educations, and here we have another heat map. Okay, so let's move to the last section, to the income analysis. It's pretty easy. We have here only 2 charts. So the first one, the gender and educations, we're gonna have it on the left side, and to the right side we're gonna have here our scatter plot, the age versus salary. So with that, as you can see, in one dashboard we are showing almost 15 different charts. And of course in our dashboard we have to have a section on the left side for the logos, for the navigations, between the 2 dashboards, the summary and the details views. And of course we can go and add multiple functionalities about exporting the dashboards or icons where we can put our links. Of course we will not forget about the filters, so on the top right we can have like a switch in order to show the filters or to hide it. Alright friends, to the next step. Now we are not done planning our dashboards, we have to go and sketch the mockup of the container structure. Building a dashboard in Tableau requires a knowledge about how to control and manage the containers, and if you don't have plan, I promise you things gonna get chaotic. So that's why we have to plan the container structure, and this time I'm gonna sketch the mockup using the Draw.io. Draw.io is an amazing tool and as well free in order to create professional charts and concepts that I usually do as well in my projects. Okay, so now we are inside Draw.io, and I just put our mockup as a reference for us, and working with Draw.io is pretty simple. The first step that I usually do is that I go to the style over here and make it as a sketch. So now what this does is that all the shapes that we have on the left side gonna look like hand drawing. So at the end your concept gonna look really cool and not boring. So now for our containers we're gonna have 3 different objects. The first one gonna be the horizontal container. So you are the horizontal container, and I usually have the color of blue. So let's first here remove the fill and go to the colors, choose blue and maybe make it thicker. So this is the first type. The other one we have a vertical containers, right? So vertical container, and we're gonna have the color of orange. So maybe something like this. Okay. And the last box is gonna be our objects. It could be anything. It could be an icon, a text, an image. So I would like it as a gray. So let's have something like this. So we can see that our whole dashboard is split into 2 sections. The left sections where we have the logos and the icons, and then the rest to the right side. So that means we're gonna start with a horizontal container for the whole dashboard. So we're gonna make it like this, and we're gonna have it like this, so big. Alright, so let me just remove the text over here and maybe give it a text name. This is the whole dashboard. Alright. So this is the first step. So now let's start with the left one where we have the icons and the logos. It's like vertical, we have all objects below each others. So what we're gonna take, we're gonna take a vertical container for the left side, and we're gonna call it Navi for navigation. Like this, and let's make it a little bit smaller. Okay, so inside it we're gonna have different objects like a logo. Oh, let's make it smaller. I will go and make a fill for that. So let's click on fill and gray. The same here. Now we can zoom in and add more icons in order to navigate between dashboards, to export the dashboard, to put links and so on. So we're gonna have multiple links and stuff on the navigation. So this is everything about the navigation. Now on the right side, what do we have? So we have first like a title, a filter, and then below it we have a whole section of charts. So that means we have two objects below each others, and for that we're gonna need again a vertical container. So for the whole thing over here, we're gonna have one big vertical container like this, and we're gonna call it header and charts. Header and charts. Okay, something like this. Okay, so now let's start with the header. It looks like we have a header and beside it we have filters. That's why we're gonna go with horizontal container, right? So we're gonna have it like this. And what do we have inside it? We have the header and the filter, right? So we have the title, and here on the right side we're gonna have few icons, or maybe one icon, we will see. Okay, so now let's have a look to our charts over here. So here we have three sections, right? But actually they are split into two sides. The left side where we have the overview, and the right side where we have two sections. So that means we have two objects side by side, and for that we're gonna take another horizontal container. So let's do it like this. It's gonna be the main splitter between the left side and the right side. So let's start with the left side. As you can see, they are objects beneath each others, and that means we're gonna go and use a vertical container. So for the left side, we're gonna have a vertical container like this. So let me just remove the name and let's go and call it the overview. So overview, and we have inside overview a lot of charts. So we're gonna have multiple charts like this, and all of them are beneath each others. Okay, we will not now drill down inside each detail, we will just have a rough plan for the containers. So now let's check the right side. So now on the right side, as you can see, we have two main sections. We have the demographics and the income. So that means we're gonna go and have a vertical container, right? So as well, the right side, we can have a vertical one, like this. And we're gonna remove the name here. Okay, so now let's go and check each side. As you can see, we have first like a title, and below it we have different objects. So again, here we have a horizontal container. So we're gonna have like this. It is very nested because it's a little bit complicated. So we're gonna have as well for the below section for the income, we're gonna have a title and then charts. So let's give it a name. This is the demographics. And below it we have the same thing. We have a section for the income. Alright, okay, so what do we have underneath the title? We have here like charts side by side, and that means we're gonna go and use horizontal container for that, right? So we're gonna have horizontal container below it, like this, and inside it we have our different charts. So we have charts like this, and let's have three like this. And for the income as well, we're gonna have only two charts, so we're gonna need as well a horizontal container since they are objects side by side, and we're gonna have our two charts. Alright guys, so I think we have a plan, right? So we have a blueprint for our dashboards, and here we have a lot of layers, like around 6 layers. We will not fine-tune now the plan, it is just a rough plan. But one thing that I would like maybe to zoom in a little bit is about each chart. So as you can see, for example, this one, we have a title always, and below it is charts. The same thing goes for the gender, we have a title and a chart. So that means we have like a vertical container for each chart. So if we go and zoom in inside those charts, we will not place immediately the charts, we're gonna have it always as a vertical, like this, where the first object is gonna be the title of the chart. So like this, and below it, then we're gonna have the chart itself. Alright my friends, so now we have a rough plan, so now let's go and implement those containers in Tableau. Alright friends, so finally we have now a rough plan for our dashboards, but of course it doesn't contain all the details, so we will be like twisting and tweaking stuff as we are building the dashboard. So let's go back to Tableau in order to build the dashboard. Okay friends, let's go and create a new dashboard, and let's call it HR summary, like this. Now the first step is that we're gonna go and define the size of the dashboard. So let's go over here on the left side. Instead of range, let's go and select a fixed size, and this time we will go with the width 1400 and the height of 800. Alright, so let's start with the first container. It is the horizontal container for the whole dashboard, and what I usually do, I go over here and switch it to floating, because having everything in one floating container, it adds more dynamic and we can go and change the background as we want. So make sure to switch it to floating, and let's take the horizontal container and drop it here in the middle. As you can see, it's a little bit small, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna go and change the size of it in order to fit our dashboard. So let's go to layout, and the width is gonna be exactly like the dashboard, 1400, and the 800 for the height. And for the position, it's gonna be 00. in order to have it exactly on top of our dashboard. And now in this phase, as we are adding the structure of our containers, I usually go and add borders to each container in order to see whether we are doing everything correctly. So now let's go and do that. Let's go to the borders and add a line, a thick one and blue. So with that, we can see a blue horizontal container. And of course, let's go and give it the name. So let's rename it to whole dashboard. Okay, and now in order to avoid mistakes by converting the horizontal container to a vertical container, I go and add blanks inside it in order to make it as a fixed horizontal container. So let's go and do that, to dashboards, and now let's switch it back to tilde. Only the first main container gonna be floating, the rest gonna be tilde. So the first blank to the middle, and now make sure that the second blank exactly on the right side. So let's go back and check in the layout. You can see we have blanks inside our whole dashboard. Okay, so now let's go to the next level and start adding the containers inside the whole dashboard. And here we have two vertical containers, one for the Navi. So let's go and do that. We're gonna have one vertical container over here. And as usual, I go and add blanks inside it. So let's go and add the first blank. So it's a little bit small like this. Let's go and expand it. Let's go and add another one blank below it, so make sure it's below the first blank, and let's go and check the layout. So now as you can see, we have here a vertical container and two blanks inside it, which is correct, and let's go and rename it. Let's give it the name of Navi, and we can go and remove the first blank over here. We don't need it anymore, so let's remove it. And of course, we're gonna go and add a border color for it, so this time it's gonna be orange. Okay, so this is the container for the Navi. Now let's go and add another one for the right side for the rest. So let's have a vertical container and two blanks inside it, so one in the middle and one exactly below it. So now it's very small, so let's go and check the vertical container and make it wider like this. So let's give it a name now. It's going to be header and charts. So click OK, and of course we're going to go and give it a color like this, and it's going to be as well an orange. So now if you're looking to the tree over here, we have a whole dashboard, and inside it we have the Navi, and to the right side we have the header and charts. Let's go and remove this blank, we don't need it anymore. So from here, we will not now focus on the Navi since we don't have a lot of containers. We have here only logos and icons and so on. We will focus now on the header and charts, because here we have the real content and we have a lot of containers. So what do we have inside it? We have two containers, one for the header and another one for the whole charts, and both of them are horizontal containers. Let's start with the header. So we're going to go and add horizontal container here in the middle, and this time instead of adding blanks, we're gonna add one text for the title of the dashboard. So it's gonna be human resources dashboard, and let's add the word overview. So let's have it like this, and let's have the size of 20. Okay, now we're gonna go and add a blank to the right side, so make sure you drop it exactly to the right side inside this container. And let's go to the layout and check what do we have. So as you can see, we have now a text and a blank underneath the horizontal container. And let's go and give it the name now. This is the header. And of course, we're going to go and add a color for it. So it's going to be the blue. So now we can go and remove this upper blank like this. Okay, so now let's go and add another container for the charts. So it's going to be as well a horizontal container. So drop it beneath it. And as usual, we're going to go and add our blanks. One here. Let's make it bigger. And one to the right side. And we go to the layout and check stuff. So we have two blanks inside the horizontal container. And now let's go and give it the name. Here we have everything, the left and right sections. Okay, and we're going to go and add the borders as usual. So with that, we have our two containers, and we can go and remove this placeholder from here. Now let's keep drilling down, and we're going to focus on this container, the left and right sections. And here we have two vertical containers. So let's start with the left section, the left container. We're gonna have it for the overview. So vertical container. And now let's drop a text instead of blank and call it overview. And maybe let's make it like 12. Okay. And now below it, another blank in order to make sure this is a vertical container. Let's go to the layout and check. So vertical container, we have title and blank. And let's give it the name overview left section like this. And let's go and remove this blank from our dashboard. And don't forget about the color of the border, right? So we can have it orange. So that's it. Let's make it a little bit smaller like this. Okay, so now let's go to the right side. And we can have as well a vertical container. So like this, the same stuff, a blank, and below it as well another blank. And we go to the layout, the same stuff. So we have two blanks, and let's give it the name, demo and income sections. Okay, as usual, the border as well orange, and we're gonna go now and remove the placeholder like this. Let's adjust the sides. So the left section, the overview, should be smaller like this, and then we have the right section. Alright, so with that we have everything on the left side. What is left is designing the containers of those two sections. So here we have two vertical containers. Let's go and do that. The first one, we're gonna drop it here in the middle. Let's go and add a text for it. It's gonna be the demographics, and the size is gonna be 12. Okay, now let's make it bigger like this, and let's drop a blank. So make sure to drop it exactly here, and let's go to the layout, and everything is fine as you can see. So I'm just make it a little bit bigger. So we have here the text and the blank. Let's go now and give it a name. It's gonna be the demo section like this, and we're gonna give it as well a color. So as well a vertical container. So let's go and remove this placeholder, and we need to do the exact same thing for the second section. So let's go and add a vertical container, a text. It's gonna be the income 12. Okay, and we're gonna make it bigger like this. We're gonna bring as well a blank, so make sure to drop it inside the container. Let's check the layout. So everything is fine. Now we're gonna go and rename it as usual. So income section. Okay, and don't forget the coloring like this. And with that, we are done. Let's go and remove the last blank. So here we still have spacing. Let's go and adjust the size. So the demo gonna be to the middle, and the income gonna take as well the whole space. Okay guys, I promise you the last drill down where we're gonna add a horizontal container for the charts. So for the demographics, we're gonna have one horizontal container here inside, and let's go and add a few blanks inside it. So the first blank, go small, and to the right side. So let's go and check that. We have a horizontal container. Give it a border color, and now we're gonna go and do the exact same thing for the income. So we need as well a horizontal container inside it, and two blanks, one here, let me just make it bigger, and one exactly to the right side. And we're gonna check the stuff. So we have two blanks inside the horizontal container. Give it a name, income charts like this. Give it a color, and remove the placeholder. So let's go and remove it. Okay friends, so we are done. Let's go and have a final check on the structure. So we have a whole dashboard, and inside it we have the left section for the Navi, the right section for everything header and charts, and inside it we have two horizontal containers, one for the header and another one for the left and right sections. So let's drill down. We can see here we have the left section as a vertical container, and then we have a right section for the demo and income sections, and then we go and split it into demo section and income section, and each one of them has a title and as well a horizontal container. So the same thing as well for the income. So if you have it like this, exactly like me, we can proceed. If not, then go back and do it step by step. Okay, so now the next step is that we're gonna do the first iteration in the dashboard, where we're gonna put all the charts inside our dashboard. We will not care a lot about the designs, it's all about placing the charts inside the containers. So let's start with the first section, the overview. So make sure to select it. And I'm gonna say, let's make it a little bit bigger. So we're gonna start from top to down. We're gonna go to dashboard, and let's go and add a title. So for the first band, it's gonna be the active employees. So active employees, and let's centralize it in the middle. Okay, and now below this title, we're gonna have the band of active. So let's drop this chart below it. And of course, we're gonna go and hide the title. We don't need it. Nice. Now below it, we can have two KPIs, the left and right. And for that, we need a horizontal container. But before that, we're gonna go and have a small separator between this band and the two bands below. So we're gonna have a blank below it. Let's go and make it smaller like this. And we're gonna go and design the following stuff. So let's go to the background, more colors. Pick our gray and make the opacity something around 60. Alright, one more thing. Let's go and remove the outer padding to 0. And we're gonna go and give it the name divider. Alright, so now below it, we're gonna have a horizontal container for the two KPIs. So drag and drop below it like this. And as usual, we're gonna go and add our two blanks, one and the second one. Make sure it's going to be exactly to the right side. So let's go to the layout and check. So here we have the horizontal containers. Let's go and call it, we're going to call it KPI section like this. And okay, and of course we're gonna go and add a few borders for it just to see it. All right, as you can see now, things are smashed. Let's go and reorganize it. So we're gonna make this a new container a little bit bigger like this. And now let's focus on those two KPIs. So now what do we need for each KPI? We need a title, band, and the line charts. So we have to have like a vertical container. So let's go and grab one and put it inside it. And let's start immediately adding stuff. So we need a text. It's gonna be the hired and make it to the center. Okay, and below it we need the pan, so drag and drop the pan. Of course, make sure to remove and hide the title. And below that we need the line chart, so it is hired by year, and drop it exactly below the pan. All right, and we hide the title. So now this is the first container. Let's go and check the layout. So we have here vertical container, we have the title, pan, and as well the line charts. Let's go and give it the name. It's gonna be hired KPI, like this. And let's go and remove the first placeholder from the blank. So remove it. Now don't worry about the size and the coloring. We're gonna do a second iteration on the dashboard in order to do fine tuning. So now we can just a little bit adjust the side from the line chart like this. And now we need in the right side again the same KPI, the same steps. So let's go and grab a vertical container to the right side. Make sure to drop it inside the container. And we need a text. It's gonna be terminated. In the center. So now what do we need else? We need a pan, so make sure it is exactly below the text, and as well hide the title. Let's go and make this small, so to this container, go to the left side, and as well the blank should be smaller. Now what do we need? We need the line chart, so let's go and drop the line chart below the pan, remove the title, and make it a little bit smaller. So now let's go and check the layout. So what do we have? We have a vertical container, we have a title, pan, and as well another chart. Let's go and rename it. This is the term KPI. Okay, so now one more thing. I would like to go to this blank, rename it to divider, like this. And let's give it the same coloring. It's gonna be the dark gray, and as well the opacity to 60, like this. And let's go and remove the outer padding. Okay, so now what do we have below that? We have the department and like lines left and right. And for that, we need a horizontal container. And what do we need? We need a text in the middle. It's gonna be departments. And it should be in the middle. And left and right, we're gonna go and add a blanks. So make sure to drop it exactly to the left and exactly to the right. So let's go and check the layout. So we have here horizontal container, blank, department, blank. So let's go and color those stuff in order to see it. So it's going to be the dark gray and 60 without any outer padding. The same thing for the next one. So 60 and no outer padding. Okay, so we can go and call it department title. And okay, now what do we have below it? We have the chart of the department. So let's go and drop it beneath it. And of course, go and remove the title like this. And now below that, we're going to have the location title. So it's going to be exactly like the departments. What do we need? We need horizontal container. We need a text. Let's call it location like this and centralize it in the middle. We need two blanks left and right like this. And we go to the layout. So we have blank, location, blank, and we're going to rename it to location title. And we're going to design those blanks. So make it gray, 60, and remove the padding. The same thing for the next one as well, 60, remove the padding. Now below that we have two charts, one a map and another one a bar chart. So what do we need? We need horizontal container below it, and we need the two charts. So let's get the location to the right side, remove the title, and let's go and get the maps exactly to the left side and remove the titles. So now let's go and check what we have done. We have horizontal container and the two charts. Let's go and rename it. It's gonna be the location charts. And okay, and now we can go and remove the last blank. It is just a placeholder, so remove it. So that's it. We have now all the stuff inside the overview section. So as you can see, if you don't do it slowly and step by step planning everything, this is gonna be chaos. But with the planning, everything gonna be easy. Okay, so now let's move to another section, to the demographics. So here we have a lot of charts. Let's do it step by step. So we are at this section over here. So what do we have? We have a title, and then we have multiple charts side by side. So as usual, each chart is a vertical. We have a title and as well the chart itself. So let's go and add the first vertical container over here, and then we need inside it a text. So make sure to drop it here, and this is gonna be the gender and center. Okay, and now below it we need the charts. So let's go and pick our pie chart for the gender, drag and drop it beneath it, and of course we're gonna go and remove the title. All right, great. So now before we go to the next chart, we're gonna go and have like a divider like this. So let's go and give it the colors. So gray, 60, like this, and the outer padding. Okay, so now to the next chart, we need as well a vertical container to the right side. Make sure to drop it right to the divider. And here we need 3 charts. So let's do it step by step. First, we need the title. It's going to be education and age to the center as well. And below it, we have the first bar chart, which is the age groups. So drag and drop it beneath the title and remove the title as well. Now beneath it, there is 2 charts, the heat map and as well the bar chart of the education. So since they are side by side, we're going to go and get horizontal container beneath it. So drop horizontal container exactly beneath it. So now things are getting resized left and right and so on. Don't worry about it. The main thing is that we are placing the charts in the right container. So let's go and get first age versus education and put it in this new container. Remove the title. And now to the right side, we need the education levels. So make sure to place it to the right side and remove as well the title. So now let's go and resize this divider in order to have a little bit space. Like this. So now we have to change a few stuff with those bar charts, like hiding the headers. So for example, click on the first one, right click on the header and remove it. And now for the second chart, I would like to switch stuff. So let's go inside this chart by clicking to this arrow. And now I'm going to go and switch columns and rows. And as well, we're going to go and hide the header. So let's remove it. And we have to go back to our dashboard. So we're going to stay with this, but we will configure it later in the second iteration. So now let's have a look to the layout in order to make sure that everything is correct. So let's see. This is the vertical container for the education and age. Let's go and rename it. So education and age charts like this. So it should has a title, then the first chart where we have the bar chart, and then below it we have horizontal charts where we have 2 charts side by side, the heat map and the bar charts. If you get it like this, then we can proceed. So now we need another chart to the right side where we have the last chart in this section, but we need a divider between them. So let's go and get a blank and drag and drop it exactly to the right side. So make sure you drop it correctly. So let's go and check the layout. We have the color of gray and as well 60 and the outer padding to 0. And now as you can see, our blank is after the education and age charts. So let's go and rename it divider. And as usual, we need a container. So it's going to be a vertical container to the right side. And we need a text. It's going to be education and performance like this in the middle. And this is going to be very simple. We're going to go and get the chart just below it like this. Remove the title. And of course, you can go and make the divider a little bit smaller left and right. Okay, so let's check again the layout, whether everything is fine. So we have a vertical container for the last chart. We have a title and beneath it, we have the charts. Okay, so we are done with this section. Now let's move to the last section, to the income. So what do we have over here? Let me just close this, and as well this, we have the income. So we have a title and beneath it we have a container. We need here 2 charts as usual. We have the vertical container for the first one and we need a title. So let's go and drop a text inside it. It's going to be education and gender. Make it in the middle. Okay, and now we need our charts. So let's go and drop it beneath the title. Remove the title. So now before we go to the next chart, we need a separator or divider. So let's just design it as usual to 60 and the padding to 0. Now we need to build the last charts. As usual, we get a vertical container to the right side. We need a title. It's going to be age versus salary to the middle. Okay, and of course we need our chart. So let's go and drop it beneath it. Remove the title and make the divider smaller like this. Okay, so that's it for this section, and now we have all our charts inside our containers as we planned. Alright friends, so with that we have all the charts in one place, in one dashboard. Now we're gonna start with the process of refining and fine-tuning of the dashboard, where we're gonna go and tweak and twist many stuff in order to have a professional dashboard. Okay, so now the first step is that we're gonna go and add background colors to the dashboard and containers, and we're gonna go and remove all the background colors of the worksheets. So let's go and do that. We're gonna start first with the whole dashboards over here. So let's go and add the following. It's gonna be like a dark gray. So I will go with this one over here. So we have like in the background a dark gray, and then the section is gonna be black. So let's go to the next step. We're gonna go to the navy over here. So the navy gonna be its own section. That's why we're gonna have it as a black like this. And then to the right side, we will not have everything as black. We will have only the 3 sections: overview, demographics, and income. So that's why I will not change anything over here. So let's go to the sections, and we're gonna start with the overview over here. So we're gonna have it as a black, and then we need those two sections. So we need the demo section, it's gonna be as well black, and as well the income section gonna be black. So with that, as you can see, we are getting now the dark theme of our dashboard. The next step is that we're gonna remove all the background colors inside our worksheets. We have added it at the start in order to have a feeling about the dark theme, but now we will not use the background colors of the worksheets, we're gonna use only the dashboards. So now we have a boring task where we're gonna go through all the sheets and we're gonna start removing the background. So let's start from the top left. We're gonna start with the pan, right click on it and go to format, and then we go to shading and we're gonna go and remove the worksheet color to none. So now we're gonna go through all worksheets that we have and we're gonna go remove the background color. We can do it in the dashboard here, or you can go and visit each of those sheets one by one. And we have the last one removed like this. Alright, so we are done. Now we have fixed the background colors of the dashboard and as well the worksheets. Alright, moving on to the next step, we're gonna go and fix the font size and color. Let's start with the title of our dashboard. Let's select the whole thing and we're gonna go and use our light gray, and we make sure it is a 20, so we have it as 20, and let's make the first section, the title itself, as a bold, and we'll leave the overview as it is. So that's it, hit OK. Okay, so now we're gonna go and edit the title of each section. So here we have 3 sections, overview, demographics, and income, and we're gonna do the following. Let's go to the overview, we make it light gray, like this, and we're gonna make it as well 14 and bold. Alright, let's go to the next one, we're gonna do the same stuff, so bold, change the color to light gray, and make it 14. Alright, and to the last section, 14, bold, and we pick the color. Okay, so the sections looks exactly the same. Now we're gonna go and edit the titles of each chart. So we're gonna have the following. Let's start with the gender over here. We're gonna make it as well light gray, and we're gonna make it as 11 for the size of the font. So let's go and do the same for each one of them. So it's gonna be 11 light gray, and for the next one, for the next, for the age and gender. Oh. Alright, and don't forget about the departments over here. 11 and gray, and the location. And 11. Okay, so now we are done with the titles and stuff. Now let's go and check the font size inside our charts, and I would say we can make it smaller. So we have to go through that again. Let's start with the departments, go to format, and instead of 9, let's have it as 8. Let's go for the index as well, and move it to 8, and I would say let's make it bold. Alright, now let's go to this bar chart, make it 8, and the same thing for the map. So click somewhere, go to format, and make it 8. And now for the pie chart, I would go inside it first, and we're gonna go to the outer circle, and there we're gonna go and change the font size to 8, but the big number inside we're gonna leave it as it is. Maybe we're gonna make it a little bit even bigger, so let's make it 10. Alright, let's go back to our dashboard, and now we continue to the next charts. So make everything as 8, same for the age. Now to the next one, same stuff, and as well 8 for the income and for the ages and stuff. So everything should be 8. Okay, so I think it looks really nice. We are done now with the font size and colors. Alright, so now the next step is that we're gonna go and visit all the charts again in order to enhance it, refine it, and maybe add extra stuff. So now let's have a look to the departments over here. What we can do, we can go and add the status of the employee for each department. So we can show as well in this bar the total terminated. So in order to do that, let's go inside the chart again. So now we need like a status dimension in order to control the colors inside those bars. We don't have it yet, so that's why we're gonna go and create a new one. Let's call it status. So it's gonna be the same logic. Let's go and have an if statement. If is null, the terminated dates, right? So term date, then it is employed, right? Then the employee is hired, otherwise terminated, like this. So let's go and end it. And now we're gonna go and take the status and put it to the color over here. So let's go and assign the coloring. So the hired gonna be the green and the terminated gonna be the pink. Now what else I'm gonna do? I will just go and switch between those two status. So let's go and do that. And I would like as well to show the total hired inside the label. So let's go and get it. And we can go and change maybe the color of this label to light gray. And maybe make it 7. Alright, something like this. And we can make still the index smaller. Alright, so let's go back to our charts. So now we can see in these bars as well the number of terminated employees. So I would say let's make the index a little bit smaller like this. Okay, so that's all for this chart. Let's move to the next one. We're gonna go inside this chart and I would say let's add the percentage informations to the columns. So let's go and get the total hired and put it near the location, and then let's go and switch it to discrete. So with that we have the percentages here and the header information on top. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna go and change the format of those percentages. So let's remove the decimals and let's go and make those bars a little bit smaller. So I will go with something like this. Okay, let's go back and check the dashboard. So yeah, they look nice. Maybe we're gonna make it smaller size for the font. So instead of 9, we usually have 8. Alright, and we can go and make it smaller. Yeah, so we have more place for the map. Yeah, something like this. Okay, so now for the map, everything looks nice, so we don't have to change anything. Let's go now to the gender informations. Now what we can do, we can make maybe 2 pie charts for each gender, and then we can show the percentage of terminated employees. So let's go and try that. Maybe it's gonna look nice. So we're gonna go inside, and now in order to do that, we need the gender as a row. And of course now our pie chart did broke, so let's go to the outer circle and repair it first. So we don't need the gender informations, we have it here as a dimension. So what do we need? For the colors, we need the status of the employee, and as well we need the total hired as percentage and put it on the pie. Okay, something like this. And what you can do inside those circles for the big numbers, we can change it to the percentage, right? So let's go and replace it with a percentage, something like this, and let's go and format it. So to the percentages and remove all the decimals. So it looks nice, right? Now we can see the percentage of terminated for each gender. So let's go and have a look to our dashboard. Now it looks that it needs more space. So what we can do, we can go and rotate the labels first. And with that, we have enough space. Maybe you can make it a little bit bigger. We're going to fix the spacing between charts later. And one more thing that I just noticed is that the inner circle of the pie, they are not really black. So let's go to the chart again, to the inner circle, to the colors, and change it to black. Let's go back. Okay, so with that, we are done with the gender chart. As you can see, we are rethinking again the chart as we see all the informations in one place in the dashboards. So now we're gonna come to the fun one where we have here 3 charts on top of each others. First of all, let's give it more space like this, and maybe make it a little bit bigger. So now what do we have? We have here 4 values, and for the age we have here like 5 values. So what we're gonna do first, we're gonna give it more space, and I'm thinking about maybe we're gonna go and switch those 2 informations. So maybe it's gonna look more better. So let's go again inside the chart and let's go and flip it like this. Okay, so let's go back to our charts. Okay, so now it looks more nice. Let me just make this smaller. Something like this. And now we can see that the high school is taking a lot of space inside our chart, so we can go and edit the alias for that. So right click on it and edit alias. So maybe let's have it like this as an abbreviation. Okay, so now we have more space. We have to fight with the space inside this dashboard. So now the next step is that I would like to go and highlight the highest value. So as you can see, now we have everything as gray. And if we highlight now the highest value, it's going to be very clear. So let's go inside this chart. And now in order to highlight the highest value, we have to go and create a new calculated field. So let's give it the name highlight max. So we need the function max, but for the window. What is our measure? It is the total hired. So the total hired, we are searching for the highest value. And if the current value equal to the highest value, we're going to get true. Otherwise, we're going to get false. So let's go and hit OK. And let's use this function on top of the colors. So now let's go and change the coloring first. So if it is false, it should be a dark gray. If it's true, we want it as green. So now if you check the view, we have multiple values as the highest value. We would like to have only one value. So let's go and change the aggregate function. So right click on it and let's go and edit the table calculation. So now let's go to specific dimensions and we're going to consider both of the dimensions. And with that, we have only one value, which is exactly what we want. Let's go and hide the legend. We don't want it in the dashboard yet. And I would say let's show as well a label for the highest. So let's go and take the total hired as a percentage, put it on the label. And of course, we're going to go and change the table calculation. It should consider both of the dimensions. So let's close it. And we're going to go and change the format as usual. We don't want all those decimals. Let's remove it. And let's go and change the format. So what we need it as, let's go with 7. And with a light gray. And we don't need all the values. We need only the min and max. So switch it from all to min and max. And remove the minimum value so that we have only for the highest value this label. Okay, so I think we are done. Let's go back and check how it looks like in the dashboard. So it's fine, right? Now let's go and fix all those bar chart left and right. So we have here switched the dimensions. That's why we have to go and switch this as well. So make sure to do it correctly. So we're going to bring it down and the other one should go up. And what we're going to do, we're going to go and switch as well the dimensions like this. This is for the first chart and as well for the next chart like this. Okay, so now let's go and highlight as well the highest value. So let's go back to this chart. We're going to take the highlighted value as a color. And of course, we're going to go and hide the legend as well. So let's remove it. And I would say let's go and reduce the size of those bars in order to fit inside our charts. So I will go something around here. We will see. So let's go back to our charts and let's do the same things for the ages. So we're going to go and get the highlight value to the colors and we have to go and change the colors over here. So it's going to be gray and true going to be green. Okay, let's as well remove the legends and as well we have to go and reduce the size of those bars, maybe something like this. All right, let's go back and check. So now as you can see with the highlight effects, it looks really nice. So now as you can see, the bars are not fitting exactly on top of those values. We will fix the spacing and the positions later as a next step. So we're going to leave it as it is for now and let's move to the next chart. So let's go inside it and I would say let's go and highlight as well those values. Now we cannot go and use the same highlighter because here we have percentage and our highlight is based on the absolute numbers. So what we're going to do, we're going to go and duplicate it and let's rename it to percentage. And remove the copy as well from it. So let's go and edit it. So now instead of having the total hired, what we can have the percentage of total hired, right? So we're going to take this measure and remove the percentage from here. Let's go and copy it and put it as well for the equation. Okay, so hit OK and let's move it to the colors. Now, of course, we have to go and add as well the coloring as usual. So false is gray and true gonna be green. Okay, and we can hide as well the legends. So now let's go and check the table calculation whether it is configured correctly. So edit table calculation. So this one should be based on the performance rating like this. All right, so now I would say let's go and add the label for those charts. So we're going to take the same measure, hold Control and put it on top of the label. And let's go and adjust the style. So it's going to be light gray. And we're going to have it as an 8. And we don't need all those values. Let's have only the min and max. So now we have the min value and the max value, but I don't want the min value. So we're going to have only the max value like this. So that's it. Let's go back to our charts. And I think everything looks nice. So now let's go to the education versus gender. And I think here in the chart, I would not add anything. It looks really nice. But I would go and change the size of the labels. We forgot about that. So let's make it 8 instead of 9. So that's it. And now for the last chart over here, I think we have to go and add some coloring to it. So I will just go and add our green color and maybe reduce the opacity to something like 50. Okay, very nice. And maybe go and reduce again the size of those labels to something like 7. And now I would like to go and add for the axis a line. So let's go to format. So let's go to the lines over here and on the sheets, we're going to go to the axis and we're going to add a line for it. And we make sure that we are selecting our dark gray for that. And maybe as well reduce the opacity to somewhere like around maybe 60. So let's go back to our chart and maybe let's go and rename those axes. So instead of average age, we're going to have only the age. And the same thing for the salary. So we're going to have only the salary like this. Okay, so that's it for this chart. And as you can see, we just revisited all the charts and we added extra stuff, some refinement and fine tuning. All right, everyone. So now in the next step, we're going to start working with the pixels in order to add more spacing between all those sections and containers using the inner and outer padding. So now the distance between all those main sections is going to be always as 20. So let's start doing that. We're going to start from the left side from the navigation. So make sure to select the navigation over here. So now the first thing is that we're going to go and get rid of all those borders. We don't need it. So now we have to add 20 as a space between this section and the outer dashboard. So we're going to go to the outer padding over here and just add 20 everywhere, top, left, bottom, right. And the next step is that I'm gonna go and do a fixed width for this container. So let's go to this small arrow over here and edit the width, and we're gonna have the value of 100. So let's do it like this. So now, as you can see, we have spacing between the container and the border of the dashboard. Now let's go to the right side completely. So let's go and select headers and charts, remove the border, we don't need it. So now, as you can see, we have a lot of spaces on the right side. So we're gonna go and edit the width. Instead of this value, we're gonna have, let's go with 1300. So let's go like this. And now if you check the whole container, we need spacing from the right side and exactly gonna be 20. So let's go to the outer padding over here, deselect all sides equally because we have already space between those two sections. So we need only from the right side a 20. Okay, so now let's go inside all those containers and start adjusting stuff. So the next step is that the header, we're gonna go and remove the border. And I would say let's go and have a fixed height for that. So change it to fixed. And as well, let's edit the fixed to 65, something like that. So we have a little bit spacing between the charts and the title. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now let's go to the next section, to the left and right. So we can see here we have enough spacing around the dashboard for the whole container. Let's go and remove the border for that. And I would say let's jump to the next one. So let's go to the overview on the left side. So what do we need here? On the left side we have a 20, so we are safe on top, on bottom, but on the right side we don't have enough space between the sections. That's why we're gonna go and adjust it. But first, let's go and remove the border. And then we're going to go to the outer padding and we're going to remove all sides equal. And just on the right sides, I need 20. So now we can see we have enough spacing between the left and right. So that's look really good for now. I would go as well change the container color of those informations so we don't have anything. Alright, so now let's go to the right side and select the whole container. So we are at the demo and income section. Remove the border. Alright, so I think we are done with this. Let's go inside those sections. So let's go to the demo section, remove the border, and now of course we need now spacing between the demographics and the income. So on the bottom we need 20. So let's go to the outer padding, deselect, and only on the bottom we need 20. Okay, so looks really nice so far. And of course let's go and remove all those borders, so we don't need it anymore. For this as well, we don't need borders, and here. So I think we have to go above. So, like this. Okay, if I deselect, we still have one border, which is the whole dashboard. So let's just remove it. So as you can see, adding spacing, it's like giving air to your dashboard so it can breathe, right? Alright, so now we're going to go and add an inner padding inside those sections. We will ignore for now the navigations because here we're going to have another story about the icons. So now if you check those sections, you can see that the wording is like very near to the border of the section, right? So we have to give here some spacing. So we will do that only for the main three sections. So we're going to go first to the overview, like here. And now this time we're gonna go to the inner padding and we can add a 7, something like that. So you can see as we are moving the values away from the border, it's easier to read. We're gonna do the same thing for the section over here. So we are at the demo section and go and give it 7 as well. The same thing for the income. So the income section over here, let's go and give it a 7. So now we can see those values, male and female, they are not on top of the border, right? Okay, so now let's have another look. I think we can go and add spacing between those titles and the title of the section, right? So what we're gonna do, let's go and select the whole container, so demo charts, and we can add on the top padding, only the top, something like 5, right? So we have here a nice space. So now as you can see in the demo charts, we still have some spacing below, right? So what we can do, we can go and edit the height. So instead of this value, we can go and increase it to 300. So with that, we are using the whole space. Now let's go to the other section, to the income, and let's go and select the whole container, income charts, and we're gonna do the same thing. So we're gonna go and add on top a 5. So we have some spacing between the title of the main section and those charts. So now if we sit back and check the whole sections and the spaces between them, we can see that everything is perfect. We have 20 everywhere, but only here we have a problem, right? So as you can see here, Tableau show it as hashed line. It means there is an issue with the spacing. So we have to go and fill it. So what we can do, just click on one of those charts and just move it like below. So we are just pushing until we reach the limit, right? The spacing between those sections are perfect. Okay, so that's all about the spacing between all those sections. Now we have to go and focus about the spacing inside each of those sections and between the charts. And of course, we're going to go and fix all those dividers between the charts. So I would say let's start with this section, the demographics. So now my rule is inside one section, we're going to have 10 between the charts. So let's go and do that. So we're going to start from the left to the right. So we're going to select the gender over here, and we're going to have the outer padding to the right side as a 5. So let's go and select it like this. And then to the next one, we have our divider. So our dividers has always on the top, we have 10 outer padding, and on the bottom as well 10. And we have to go now and make it really thinner. So we're gonna go and edit the width, and we're gonna have only 1. And with that, we can have a really fine line between the charts. Okay, so now let's move to the next chart over here. So we're gonna have from the left 5 and from the right 5. So with that, we have a total of 10 between the charts. So that's it. Let's go to the next one. Here we have a divider. So as usual, we're gonna have it 10 on the top, 10 in the bottom, and we have to make it thin. So we're gonna go and edit the width to 1. Now let's go to the last chart over here. So the whole container. So from the left side, we're gonna have a 5, and that's it. On the right side, we don't have to deal with that. So as you can see now, we have really nice separation between all those charts, and we have enough spacing between them. Now finally, we can go and adjust this middle chart since we have now the spacing perfect. So we're gonna do it like this. We can select the top chart, and we can just reduce the size of it a little bit like this. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go and squeeze this chart from left and right until it matches the values. So let's go to the outer padding over here, deselect, and let's start with something like 40 and 70. So we are almost there. We have to keep pushing between those values. So maybe like this. Yeah, we are almost there, but we are shifted a little bit to the right. Let's increase the right and maybe the left, and come on. All right, so now we have it perfect. So now if I deselect, it looks like we have the bar charts on top exactly of those values. So now we're going to do the same thing for the right side. And I think we have to push more from the top. So let's go over here to the outer padding and then deselect. So let's go and start with 20. So I think we are almost there. Let's go with 25, maybe one more. 26. Perfect. So now we have it exactly on the rows of the ages. So now the chart looks really amazing. Okay, so we are done with the demographics. Let's go to the income. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go and select the whole container of the chart, and to the right side, we're going to have 5 like this. And then we're going to go and edit the separator from top. We're going to have 10 from bottom as well, 10. And of course, the width is going to be 1. So let's do it like this. And now let's go to the right container. And we're going to have from the left side 5. So with that, we have a total of 10. I would say we can push on those spacing to the left side a little bit. To the bachelor. All right, so now with that, I'm happy. Okay, so final look to the income. I would say we can go and increase the whole height of those charts. So select the whole container and let's push more on the height. Let's go with the 300 again. All right, so we are done with the income section. Now let's go to the left side. Okay, so let's start with the first band over here. And we're going to have like a 5 between the charts, but this time we have it as a vertical. So we have it 4 over here, but we can go and make it 5 in order to stick with the rule. And let's go and make it a little bit bigger to see the band. And then we have our divider. This time we're going to have from the left and the right, we're going to have 10. And we're going to have as a height 1 like this. And now we're gonna go and make everything like in the middle, so make sure to have it something like this. And we have to go and change this divider, so we have to have on the top a 10, below as well 10, and the width is gonna be as usual 1. And then we have to make sure again that the containers having the same side, so something like this in the middle. Perfect. So now let's go to this title over here. So select the whole container and add on the top 5. And I would say since it's a line, we're gonna have 10 from left and 10 from right as any other divider. So we're gonna have here a 10 and as well 10. And then now, since here we cannot go and edit the heights, we can only edit the width. What we're gonna do, we're gonna go and squeeze it from top and bottom. So how we're gonna do that? Let's go and select those separators, and we're gonna go to the outer padding. Let's have on the top 15 and on the bottom 14. And with that, we got the line effect. The same thing for the other separator. So on the top 15 and on the bottom 14. And with that, we have a line. Okay, so here there is no other spacing. Let's go to the other title, to the locations. We're gonna do the same thing. So on the top, we're gonna get a 5, not a 10. And from left and right, we're gonna have a 10 since it's separator. And now we're gonna do the same things for the separators. On the top, 15, bottom 14, the same thing over here. So 15 and 14. Nice. Okay, great. So now let's have a look to the whole dashboard. So let's go to the presentation modus. And now sit back and check whether you can find any problem with the spacing. And from my point of view, we have a perfect dashboard. So we are done with the spacings between the containers, charts, sections, and everything. It looks really professional, right? Okay, so now the next step, we're gonna go and add tooltips to all our charts. And I think you would agree with me if I say adding tooltips is a little bit boring, but it provides really nice information for the users. So let's go and do it. We're gonna start with our bands. So we're gonna start with the active employees. Let's go to the charts. Now let's go over here to the tooltip, and we're gonna do the following. So we're gonna say the total number of active employees, and then we're gonna go and insert our measure. So now it's very important that we always follow the same standards when we are using the tooltip. So I would say that always the normal text should be not bold. Only the words that you want to highlight could be go bold. For example, here what is important is the active employees, and of course the measure itself, it's already bold. Now about the colorings, we're gonna use 2 different gray colors. So if you go to the normal text over here, so let's go to the coloring. We're gonna go and choose this gray over here. So let's go and select it. And then for the highlights, we're gonna go and use our dark gray. So like this, and the same for the measure. So for now, we are done. Let's go and copy it because we're gonna go and use it in the next chart. So click OK, and then let's go back to our dashboard and just mouse hover on it. And you can see very nicely the total number of active employees. And we have then the number. Alright, so now let's go to the next band, to the hired employees. Let's go to the tooltip and replace the whole thing with this one. So instead of active, we're gonna have the hired, and let's go and give it the color that we use usually for the hired. It's the green one. And of course, we don't use the total active. We're gonna go and insert the total hired, and of course, remove the active one. So that's all. Let's go and copy it for the next one. And of course, we have to go and test. So let's hover. As you can see, the total number of hired employees, and we have the number. Let's go to the next one. So here we have the terminated. So we're going to use terminated, and for that we need to use the pink color. And here, of course, we don't have the hired. We're going to have the terminated. So like this. Let's hit OK and check the result as a dashboard. Everything is perfect. Alright, so now let's go to the line charts, and we're gonna go to the tooltip, but make sure that you are not selecting the tooltip of any of those marks. Make sure to select the all, so that we have the same tooltip for both of the charts. So stay at all and go to tooltip. Now let's go and add it as a new line. We go and remove this one, but we need the year. So now, of course, now we have a chart, and depend where is our mouse, we're gonna have the year displayed. So let's go and make it bigger, like maybe 11. And as well, let's make it green. Okay, so let's go and hit OK. And let's go and test it. So as you can see, we have here 2017, 2020. And you know what? I would like to go and add the percentage side by side to the number. So let's go and get the total hired and drop it on the tooltip. And then let's go to the tooltip and have a pipe. And then we're going to go and insert the percentage. So let's go and test it. Now, as you can see, we are getting both of the percentage and as well the absolute number. But I would like to go and get rid of the decimals. So let's do it from the data source. Right click on the field. Let's go to the default properties and then to the number format, and then remove from the percentage the 2 decimals and then hit OK. So with that, as you can see, we don't have any decimals with the percentage. Perfect. So now let's go and copy the whole thing for the next chart. And of course, we're going to go and test it on the dashboard. As you can see, it looks really nice. Let's go to the next one. And same, make sure to select the all and then go to the tooltip and insert the whole thing. Now, instead of hire date, we need the year of termination date. So like this, and remove the old one. And now we're gonna have the terminated. And of course, we go and change the color to the pink, like this. And here we have the wrong measure. So let's get the total terminated, like this. But make sure to select the same color, right? So it is our dark color. And we have to create a new percentage for the terminated. So click OK for now, and we can go and test it. As you can see, the total hired is not working. So let's go and fix it. We're gonna go over here to the total hired with the percentage and duplicate it. And we're gonna go and edit it to total terminated. So here instead of hired, it's gonna be total terminated divided by total terminated. Like this. So let's go and hit OK, and let's go and grab the total terminated to the tooltip, and let's go and edit it. So we have to go and insert it and remove the hired. Okay, like this. So now we have a nice percentage as well in our tooltip. So let's go and test it as well in the dashboard. It looks nice. Alright, so now let's go to the departments. This is going to be interesting. So let's go to the sheet. Now what we're going to do, we're going to go to the tooltip and insert our template. So now what is the main dimension over here? It is the department. So let's go and insert it and remove the hire date. Now here it depends where our mouse is. We're going to get either the hired or the terminated employees. So we cannot have it like this as a static. We're going to go and insert the status over here. So now it's going to be dynamic. So let's go and make it bold and make sure that we're having the right color. So it's going to be the dark gray. And I think we can leave it like this. Let's go and test. So let's go to operation over here. So as you can see, we have operation, the total number of hired employees, but the percentage is not working. Now let's go to the terminated employees. And as you can see, it is dynamic and changed to terminated employees. So far it is working, but we have to go and fix the percentage. And that's because we don't have it in the chart. So drop it on the tooltip and let's go and check. It's still not working. I think we have to go and insert it again. So let's go and insert it and remove the old one. Alright, so let's go and hit OK and test. So now it is working. Alright, so now here the best practices as well. If your dimension in your chart having hierarchy. So as you can see here, we have departments and job title. We can go and add the dimension that is next in the hierarchy as a tooltip. So we can go and build a special chart for the job title and include it in the tooltip. This is really amazing technique in order to quickly drill down to the next dimension without changing the whole dashboard. So let's go and do that. It's very simple. What we're gonna do, we're gonna go and duplicate the departments. So let's go and do that. And now let's go and give it the name of the job titles. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna go and replace the departments with the job title. So let's go and do that. And now I would say we're gonna go and reduce it a little bit, so we don't need the status at all as a color. So let's go and remove it. But we still have to go and sort the data, which is now not correct. So let's go and sort. And then we're gonna go with the field, descending, and of course go and select the correct field, which is the total hired, since we are using it in the charts. So let's hit OK. Now about the coloring, I would like to go and highlight only the top, maybe let's say 2 jobs. So in order to do that, let's go and create a new calculated field. Let's call it top 2. And the function is very simple. So we're gonna have the rank function. And then what we are ranking the total hired. So the total hired, if this is smaller or equal to 2, then it's gonna be true, otherwise it's gonna be false. So let's go and call it rank top 2. Hit OK. And now with that we have a new dimension. Let's go and grab it to the colors. And now as you can see, we are now highlighting the top 2. And of course we have to go and change the coloring for that. So if it is false, it's gonna be the gray. And if it's true, it's gonna be the green. So that's it. Let's hit OK. And of course go and remove the legend. And I would like to see the labels at the end of the bar. So instead of center, let's have it to the right side. And let's go and change the color to the gray color. So we're gonna have our gray color like this. Alright, so now the next step is that we're gonna go and add the whole chart inside the tooltip of the departments. So let's go back to our departments and tooltip. So now what you're gonna do, let's have a new line. Let's call it total by job titles. So now we have to make sure that the coloring is okay. So we're gonna use this gray. And the job titles is going to be our dark gray, and only the job title is bold, like this. And now the next step is that we're going to go and add our charts. So let's go and do that. Go to insert, to sheets, and then we're going to go and add the job titles from here. Okay, so let's hit OK and check the results. So now if you mouse hover over here, for example here for the department sales, we're gonna find a list of the top departments by the number of employees. But it doesn't really look good, and that's because we are using the entire view. So as you can see, it's really big. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go back to the job titles and replace the entire view to standard. And let's go and test it again. Okay, so as you can see, they look really nice. Alright, so now what you can do, we can go and add a separator between the two infos of the total number of employees and the charts. So let's go back to the tooltip and let's add a separator, like for example, the underscore, like this. And let's color it with the green and have a new line. Let's go and hit OK and test. So as you can see now, we have a nice separator between those two infos. We can go and increase it a little bit more. Maybe like this and check. Nice. Now let's go back to our dashboard and check the results. So now as you can see, we have a really nice tooltip for the departments where we have like a drill down to the jobs. Alright, so now let's go back again. I would like to go and copy the whole thing for the next charts. So let's go back to the dashboard and now we're gonna go to the location. So let's go inside it. So now the question here, do we have a hierarchy? Well, yes, the location is hierarchy. So we have the HQ and branch, and then after that we have the state and then city. So of course we can go and organize our datasets like this. Let's go and get the location on top of the stage. So we have it like hierarchy. So now we're gonna do the same things. We're gonna go to the tooltip and let's add the whole informations. So now instead of departments, we're gonna have the location. So let's go and drop that. Here we don't have a status for the employees, so we're gonna go and remove it. And this time we're gonna have a chart for the states. So total by states. And of course, we have to go and create now the chart for the states. So now let's go and hit OK and check the results. So it is currently working, but we have to go and create states. So let's go to the job titles over here and let's go and duplicate it. And let's give it the name of states. And it's pretty easy, so we're gonna go and get the state instead of the job title. And as usual, we're gonna go and sort it. So let's go and sort by the field. Our field is the total hired, like this, and it is descending. So let's go back to the location over here and insert our new charts. New line, let's go and insert the states over here. So hit OK. And now of course for the HQ we have only one state. It doesn't make any sense, but if you go to the branches, we're gonna have here a really nice ranking of the states. So let's go and copy the whole thing for the next charts. So make sure we don't have any spaces. So let's check as well the dashboard, and we mouse hover over here and as well to the branches. It looks perfect. I would like to go and make it smaller. Now we're gonna go and do the same things for our map. So let's go to the tooltip, change everything. So now we don't have a location, we have a state. So let's remove it. And I'm gonna remove as well the percentage. And now what is the next dimension of the hierarchy? After the states, we have the city. So let's go and make it like this. Total by cities. And of course, we have to go and create the cities. So we go to states, we can do the same things. We're gonna rename it cities. And we're gonna take the city instead of the states. And of course, we have to go and sort it. Manual, now it is filled. And we're gonna have it as total hired. Okay, perfect. Let's go and close it. So let's go to the map and add it to our tooltip. So sheets, cities. Let's hit OK and test. So now as you can see, we have cities inside the tooltip. It is really nice, a report inside the tooltip. But here we have like maximum of 3 cities of each state, right? The top 2 doesn't really make sense. Let's have top 1. So let's go and duplicate it. We're gonna have the same logic. Instead of 2, we're gonna have 1 and the top 1. Let's go back to the cities and we're gonna go and replace it with the new one. And of course, we have to change the colors. The false gonna be gray, the true gonna be green. Let's go and hit OK. Perfect. Now let's go and test actually on our dashboard and let's mouse hover. Now we have one highlighted city as a top city, which looks really nice. So with that, we have all the tooltips on the left side, and we have as well embedded charts inside our tooltips. Alright everyone, we have to be committed and to keep adding tooltips to everything, so there is no slacking. Let's go now to the gender, and this time here it is a little bit tricky. Now we cannot go and add one style of the tooltip for everything, because here we have 2 different types of charts, which is divided by the status and the inner circle where it's not divided by anything. So we have to go and add the tooltip separately. Let's start first with the inner circle. So what do we have here? We have the total hired but as percentage. Let's go and add as well the absolute number to the tooltip, and let's go now inside it. So we're gonna go and have our templates. We don't have any other charts, so there is no hierarchies. Now instead of location, we're gonna go and add the gender. So let's remove it. And now the total number of, we can go and add the word or the dynamic of the gender. Okay, so that's it. Let's go and test. Now it is working. So the total number of male employees, and here we have the total number of female employees. Perfect. So it is working. Now let's go and copy the new template and let's go to the outer circle. So do we have everything? Not yet. Let's go and get the total hired as well to the tooltip, and let's go inside it. Now be careful, don't delete everything because here it's a little bit tricky. So let's just add it. So what do we have? The total number of gender, but let's add as well the status before it. So the status gender employees, and we're gonna go and add the colors as usual. So now here it's a little bit tricky. You can see here we have the percentage total hired and as well percentage total hired but 2, and that's because we have different types of table calculations. I'm gonna go and take the second one and put it in our new tooltip, and with that we are done. Let's go and delete then everything before, and let's go and test it. So hit OK. Now let's go to the female over here. So the total number of hired female, and now we have the correct percentage. And let's go to the terminated females, which is as well correct. We can test as well the male. So it is perfect. We are done. Everything is fine. Let's go back to our dashboard. Everything is working. Now let's go and copy our template, maybe from the departments, just to have it like this for the next charts. Now the next chart is the heat map. Let's go inside it. So in the heat map, we have almost everything, but we don't have the percentage. So let's get the percentage to the tooltip. All right, and let's go inside it. Replace everything with our templates. We don't need a chart, and as well we don't need a status, but here we have 2 dimensions, so we're gonna go and add both of them. So we have, let's say, the age group, and as well we have the education level. Let's go and drop the department, and that's it. So just add here another space like this. I'm just gonna copy it for next time, and let's check. So now we can see here it is working perfectly, but I would like to go and add something before the numbers of the age. So let's have an age, double points like this, so it's more clear which numbers we are talking about. All right, let's go back to our chart, and it looks really nice. Now let's go to the next one, to the education level, and here we add the same thing. So the total percentage, tooltip, remove everything. We're gonna have it like this, and I think we are done. So let's check. So I will leave it like this, and as well we don't have any hierarchy. Let's go back to our charts, and it's nice. Now let's go to the age groups. Now here the age groups, we can say that it is an hierarchy because we have the age groups and the ages. So I would say let's go and add a new chart, and we're gonna go and embed it. So for example, let's go to the states, duplicate it. Let's have an age. Maybe put it near the age groups. And now we need the age as a dimension instead of the states. But of course it is a measure, so we have to go and convert it to dimension and as well to discrete. And let's remove the state. And now we have to go and sort it. But this time we're gonna go and sort it by itself, so the age. So as you can see, we can leave it like this since it makes more sense, and I would say we're gonna go and remove the index, and now as well we are highlighting the highest age, so this makes more sense. So I'm happy with that. I would like to get the template from the department again. So let's go back to the age groups, and what we are missing here, we can go and add the percentage to the tooltip, and let's go inside. Let's do it like this, and instead of department we have the age group, the total number of employees without status, and then the total by age. And we're gonna go and insert our new sheet. So insert sheet and age. I hope it's working. Let's go and test it. Perfect. So here we have everything below 25, and here we have 10 years of each, like a group. So it is working perfectly. Let's go to the chart and check. It looks really nice. So let's keep going to the next one. We have again a heat map. So let's go to the tooltip. Do we have everything? We have here only percentages. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take the total hired and put it in the tooltip just to make sure that we have it. And here as well, we have to be careful. We have different types of percentages because here we have different table calculations. So I will just go and add our template. we don't have to go and have anything nested. So the 2 dimensions is the education level, and let's have a pipe, space, and let's have the performance rating like this. We don't have status. So now we have the total hired, which is correct, but the percentage, we have to pick the correct one, which is this one, total hired along performance rating. So let's go and add it and remove all other stuff. So let's go and try it. We have bachelor and good, and then the total number of employees, then the percentage, which is correct. All right, we go back to the dashboards and it looks nice. 2 charts to go. Let's go inside the education and gender. Let's go to the tooltip and we're gonna have our template like this. So this time we have the education level and as well the gender. So let's go and add the gender, a pipe between it, and we don't have the performance rating. So this time we don't have the total number of employees. We are talking about the average salary. And we have to go and add the average salary itself. So it's pretty simple. Let's go and remove all other things that we don't need. So that's it. I will just copy it and hit OK. So let's go and test. Here we have a female bachelor and the average salary, and here we have the male bachelor and we have as well the average salary of this group. So that's it. It's pretty simple, right? All right, to the last chart, age and salary. So here we have a hierarchy, but it is the last member of the hierarchy, so it makes no sense to have the department. So that's why we will not have any charts. So let's go and add our template. Alright, so let's go and get rid of all those informations, and we're gonna have like a sentence like the following. The average salary of, and then we're gonna go and add the job title. Then we're gonna have an is, and make sure that we have the job title using the color, dark gray, bold. And then let's add another sentence about the age, and the average age of this role is, and we're going to go and add the average age. So we have to be careful with our coloring and so on. So it's going to be this gray, and let's have at the end a point. So let's hit OK. So now we have the average salary of the operation manager is, and the average age of this role is, but we have decimals on the age. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the age to the tooltip, and we're going to go have it as an average, and we're going to format it. So let's have it as a number custom and remove all decimals. So let's go and test again. Perfect. So we don't have any decimals on the average age in the tooltip. Perfect. Let's go to our dashboard and have a small test. So perfect. Everything is working, and we have now everywhere a professional tooltip. I know it was a long one, but we have a lot of charts in this dashboard. Okay, so now moving on to the next step, we're gonna go and add legends and filters. Now talking about the legends, if you check our dashboard, we need only one legend for the colors. So in order to do that, we need now a text which is floating. So make sure to switch it to floating and take a text and drop it somewhere. Now for those shapes, I'm gonna leave it in the descriptions. You can go and copy and paste it. Of course, you can go and color those shapes. And now we have here the hired. Let's go and have it as a gray, and as well the terminated as a gray. And we're gonna go with the size of, let's go with the 7. So now we have it as a floating object, and we're gonna go and place it somewhere like this, or we're gonna move it a little bit to the right side. We can go and reshape it smaller just to have it like this. Okay, looks nice. Alright, so that's all for the legend. Now to the second topic, we have the filters. We have 2 types of filters, the action filters where we can add it on the dashboard in order to have some dynamic, and the second filter we have the quick filters. So let's start with the first one, the action filters. We're gonna go and add it to our charts. It's very simple. So click for example on the departments and switch it to a filter. Now we go to the locations, we do the same thing to our map, to the pie charts. We have it as a filter, maybe for the heat map, only the heat map itself. The same thing for the other heat map. So we make it as a filter, the scatter plots, and as well the purple charts. That's it, we have added filters everywhere as an action filter. But it would be nice if we give a hint for the users that they can click on the charts in order to filter the data. So let's add this simple note, and we're gonna add it to the titles. So let's go to the demographics over here. Let's have a pipe, and let's tell the user, click to filter, like this. But of course, let's make it very small since it is not that important. So first of all, I'm gonna change the color to the dark gray, and then remove the bold, and let's go something like 8, or even let's go with the 7, like this. So let's go and copy it for the next section. I think it looks nice, right? So let's go for the income, add it as well. And the same thing for the overview. Let's go and add it. But here I'm not really happy about the active employees, so I'm gonna go and have some padding on the top in order to have some separations. So let's go and do that. Let's make it something like around 10. Alright, so that's all for the action filters. Now let's go to the quick filters. In our charts, we don't have anywhere any quick filter. So let's go and define it. I'm gonna go to the departments over here, and here we have a legend. Let's go and remove it. So now we can go and add the following filters. For example, the status of the employee. It is nice information. So let's grab the status and put it on the filters. And yes, we're gonna select everything. So hit OK. Now let's go and grab as well the location. Make sure to click on all so you don't lose any data, and then OK. Let's have the gender informations as well. It's nice information to be filtered. And as well, I would say the hire date, but I would go with the years. So click on the years, next, and make sure to select everything and OK. So now instead of going to each sheet and adding those filters, it's going to be a really boring job. What you're going to do, we're going to go and share those filters to all worksheets. So in order to do that, we go to the status and then we go to apply to worksheets, and we're going to say all using this data source. So let's go and do that. The same thing for the next one and for all those filters. So now if you go to any other sheets, you will see we have the exact set of filters. So we just shared the same filter on all the worksheets. Okay, so now let's go back to our dashboard and start using those filters. So let's go to the dashboard, and now we need as well floating object, and that is horizontal container. So let's go and drop it somewhere over here, and we have to go and color it. So go to the layout and let's have the dark. All right, something like this, and let's go and start finding the filters. It doesn't matter which sheet you're gonna go. So for example, let's go over here, then click on the small arrow, then we go to the filters, and let's go select them one by one. So let's go with the gender first. It dropped somewhere over here, so let's go and place it in our new container. I would go with all those filters as a drop down list. So we're gonna go over here, drop down multiple values, and as well, let's go and customize it by removing the all values, because it's only 2 values and it makes no sense to have 2 values. Alright, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna go and change the font color. So let's go to this small arrow and then format, filter, and set controls. So now for the title, I'm gonna leave it as it is, but I'm gonna change the alignment to center. But for the body, we need a new color. So let's go to our colors, the light gray, and hit OK. So with that, we can see the values very clearly. Now let's go and keep adding our filters. Let's go to the next one. So what do we have? We have the status. So as you can see now, it's going to jump immediately near it. We're going to change it as well to drop down. And we're going to go and remove all values. So let's keep adding stuff. So our filters, location, remove all, and make it as a drop down list. Now to the last value, it's going to be the filter of the year. Same thing. So let's go and make it drop down. Since we have a lot of values, I'm going to leave the all. Now I will change the title instead of year of hire date. It's here very hard to see. So I'm going to have it as only hire dates. Okay. And now what we're going to do, we're going to go to the whole container of the filters and we're going to make it distributed evenly. So like this. And what we're going to do, we're going to go and close this and let's go to the inner padding. Let's just slightly increase it, maybe to 2, that's enough. So let's go and make it a little bit smaller. We have to fit it now with the header informations, but I think we don't have enough spaces on the header, so select the whole container and let's go to the height and increase it slightly, maybe to 70. Let's select again the container and we're gonna go and increase the width to something maybe like this. So now of course we can go and test stuff, for example only the male, and you can see the whole dashboard gonna change only for the male and only female, the locations, or let's say only terminated. So as you can see, everything is filtered out, the hired, and as well for the locations, so you can see everything is working perfectly. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna give the users the ability to either show or hide the filters. So it's very simple. If we go to the whole container again where we have the filters, and now let's go to this small arrow and then let's add show and hide button. Now on the right side we have here a very small icon that we can use it around because it is floating. So let's see how this works. Let's go in the presentation modus and let's go click on the icon, and as you can see everything disappeared, and then click on it again. again, we will have the filters. So as you can see, we can show and hide the filters, which is a really nice thing. So with that, we are done with the filters and the legends. Alright everyone, now we're gonna move to the next step where we have a fun one. We're gonna go and add a logo and icons to our dashboard. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna focus now on the Navi container here on the left side, and we're gonna add a lot of stuff inside it. So let's go to the Navi container. So if we go to the layout, make sure to select the Navi container, and this time I'm gonna go and increase the width a little bit. So instead of 100, I will go with 110. So let's hit OK. But now here we have an issue with the lines. So what we're going to do, we're going to select the overview and we're going to move it a little bit to the right. Perfect. So now we don't have any issues in the dashboard. Let's go back to our container. So now the first thing that we're going to add is an image for the logo. So let's go and do that. We're going to take an image, drop it on top of the container, and let's go to the download folder. And there we have icons and images, and here we have a logo for our dashboard. So select it, and we're gonna go to the options over here, always make it fit image and center image. So that's it. Let's go and hit OK. So now we have a nice logo for our dashboard. Now below it, we're gonna have another vertical container where we're gonna put all the icons that we need in order to navigate, export, and so on. So let's go to the vertical container and drop it exactly below our logo. Now let's go back to our layout and check stuff. So we're gonna go and remove all those blanks below it. We don't need it. And now one more thing, let's go to the spacing over here to the inner padding, and I would like that all our icons having like a 10 everywhere. Alright, so now let's go and add our icons inside these containers. So the first thing that we need like an icons in order to navigate between the overview and as well the other dashboard that we're going to create later, the details list. So now in order to switch between those two dashboards, we're going to have two icons here on the left side, which make it easier for the users to navigate between dashboards. So let's go and do that. So what do we need? We need here an object called navigation, and let's go and drop it in our new container. Now, as you can see, the logo is jumping a lot, so let's go and fix it. We're gonna have a fixed height, and let's go with the height around like 55, so that it doesn't jump all the time. Now we have our new navigations. Let's make sure that we remove all the padding, so we don't need all those stuff. And now we need a nice icon for it. So let's go and edit the button. So if the users clicks on this, what's gonna happen? We're gonna go and navigate to our current dashboard. So that is the HR summary, and it's gonna be an image instead of text. So let's go and choose our image. It's gonna be this one, dashboard summary active. So let's go and select it, and that's it for now. Apply and OK. Okay, so that's it for now. Let's go and fix the height, and we will edit that later. Okay, so next we need another navigator in order to navigate to the second dashboard. So let's drag and drop it exactly below the first icon. So make sure that in the layout you have all the icons below the container icons. So let's go and configure it. We're gonna go and remove the padding completely, and then we're gonna go and edit it. Of course, it's gonna point to none since we still don't have the dashboard. We're gonna do that later. So leave it as none, but we're gonna go and change the image. So let's go and choose it. It's gonna be this one, the inactive one. So let's go and say OK. And as well, okay. So now if you check it, it's gonna stay like grayed out, and that's because it's not pointing to anything. So don't worry about the design of that. So this is the first blocks of icons in order to navigate between the dashboards. Now in the next section, we're gonna go and add an info for the whole dashboard in order to add more context to our dashboard, so the users can understand where the data come from. So maybe we can add a small guideline about the dashboards, maybe a few statements about the data source, and maybe who designed it. So we're gonna have like a block of text inside our dashboard in order to show more info for the users. So how are we gonna do that? All those information is gonna be inside a container, and this container is gonna be visible only if the user click on the icon. So let's see how we can do that. We need now a container, but this time we're gonna go and switch it to floating container. And let's go and get a vertical container and just drop it here in the middle. So now we're gonna go and change the background color to something like this. And now let's go and configure the height. It's gonna be the whole dashboard, so 800. And of course it starts from the 0. And now for the rest, we're gonna do it with the mouse. So we're gonna have it something like this, exactly at the border of the Navi. And for the whole dashboard, maybe like this. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go and rename it. So let's go and rename it to info container, and then okay. And I'm gonna go and move it maybe on top of the whole dashboard for now. And now let's go and add a few blanks inside this container. So click on blank and switch it to tilde. So let's move it here in the middle. So this is the first one. Let's have a text below it. So make sure you drop it correctly. So here it is the text of the info for now. Let's make it maybe white like this. And okay. So now we have it over here. Let's just make it a little bit bigger. And then we can go and add a blank below the text. So let's go and check the layout. So we have blank, a text, and blank. Now let's go and change the background color of the text. So we're gonna go over here and let's take this one, the black one. So now with that we have a container, and we're gonna add, of course, later informations about our dashboards. But I would like now to have the icon in order to control this container. So let's go over here. So let's add our button. So it's gonna go and drop somewhere because it is floating. I just found it over here. And now what we're gonna do, we're gonna change it from floating and we're gonna make it like tilde. So it drops somewhere over here, but we don't need it there. We're gonna go and put it in our new container for the icons. Great, so now let's go and test it. Let's go to the presentation. And if I click on the icon, it's gonna disappear. And if I show it, we're gonna have that container. So now let's go and configure this container. So where is our container? It is over here. I'm gonna go and put it again on the top. So now as you can see, once the container click on the icon, we are hiding all the informations, but we don't want that. We want to have like a blur effect. So we can still see the background, but it's not that important because now we have to read the text. It's really nice effect in order to shift the focus of the users to what we need. So let's go and select the whole container. So info container, and let's go and reduce the opacity to something around maybe 60. So now as you can see, we have like a blur effect, right? And we need the same thing for our text over here. So let's go, but I will go first and remove the padding. So we're gonna go now to the opacity and reduce it to something maybe to 70. Okay, so looks really nice. Now we're gonna go and edit the text of our info. So let's just make it bigger. So now let's start with a welcome message. So welcome, and then we're gonna go and insert the full name of the user. So if you go over here to the insert, we can go and insert the full name of the Tableau user. And of course we can go and add the username, but it's more friendly to have the full name. So let's go and do that. Now about the coloring, I'm gonna go and color the welcome and make it bold. So let's go and choose our green. So this is the first block. Now to the second block, I would like to go and add for the users like tips and instructions. So for example, we have done a lot of work about the tooltip. So we can say for the user, hover over the chart to see more information. And we can go and highlight one of those words, for example, about the hover, and make it green. Now we can go and add another instruction about the action filter. So let's have a new lines. So we can go and highlight, for example, the filter like this. Now what else we can do? We can tell the user about the filter on the top right. So we have here the quick filters, and we can tell the users about it. So we can say, click the switch icon on the top right corner to open the filter menu, and we can go and highlight the filter menu. Alright, so of course you can go and add more stuff as you wish. Now let's go to the next section. We're going to tell the users about the data that we are showing in this dashboard. So we can tell the user, okay, this HR dashboard uses a data set generated using ChatGPT and Faker library like this, and we can go and highlight those two important informations. And the last thing, I can go and tell something about me. So I am the author. So I'm gonna go and add my name, and don't forget to highlight. Alright, so it looks nice. We can go and add like a separator between those informations. For example, let's have some underscores like this, and we can go and change the color to green, and I'm gonna copy it and just add it between those informations. So we're gonna have it as well on the top. Alright, so now let's go and test it. It looks nice, right? So now let's go and add a few spacing on top and on the button. So let's go and test it again. So if the user closes it, it's gonna disappear, and if the user click on it, we're gonna see those nice informations. You can go and add anything you want, maybe links to your profile or to your LinkedIn or to anything. And now don't worry about the name here. I'm seeing now the PC name, but once you publish it to Tableau Public, the user is going to see their full name. Alright, so that's all for the text of our info icon, but we have to go and change the icon design itself. So I have something prepared as well for that. So let's go and edit the button. So here we have two options, item shown and item hidden, and for that we need two icons. So the item shown, when it is active, we're gonna go and choose an image for that, and this is gonna be the info shown. Let's go and select it, and the item hidden, we're gonna have the gray one, so the hidden. All right, let's go and apply it. Now, of course, we can go and test it quickly. Now it is active, so the user is seeing the informations, and once the user like deactivate it or hide it, it's gonna go as gray. So everything is working perfect. All right, so that's all for this icon. Now to the next set of icons, it's gonna be about exporting the dashboard. It's really simple. Let's go to the dashboard over here, and we're gonna go and grab the download button. So let's go and drop it below the info. And as usual, we're gonna go and remove the padding, and let's go and configure this button. So now if the users click on this icon, they're gonna go and download a PDF of our dashboard. And instead of text, we're gonna go with the image. So let's go and pick our image. We have here one for the PDF. So that's it, apply and okay. Let's add another one for the image. So drop it below it, and we're gonna go and edit it. So this time it's not gonna be a PDF, it's gonna be an image. And the icon for that, we have a very similar one for the image. So that's it. Okay, great. So now to the last set of icons, it's going to be about the social media. So now I'm going to go and add the profiles that I think it's suitable for me. So let's go and do that. They're going to be an image object. So let's go and drop the first one. So now for the first icon, I'm going to go and add the YouTube channel or the tutorial that you are seeing now. It's going to be nice if you add it to your dashboard as well. So let's go and choose the YouTube icon. So now next we're going to say, okay, fit image and center image. And we're going to go and add the link of the YouTube channel or the video. So let's go and hit OK. So now we have this icon for the YouTube. Let's go and add another one, for example, for LinkedIn. So let's drop it over here. And here we have an icon for LinkedIn. It is over here. All right, so fit and center. And of course, you can go and add your LinkedIn profile. So I'm going to go and add mine. All right, like this. And we can go and make sure that everything is inside the container. So everything looks correct. Now let's go and add the last one. It's going to be for our Tableau public profile. So let's drop it below it. And here I have an image for Tableau. Let's go and select it, fit and center. And then we're going to go and add the Tableau public profile. So this is mine. Let's go and hit OK. And make sure that the layout don't have any padding. So it should be 0. As well for the LinkedIn and for the YouTube. Okay, so we have now all the icons on the left side, but they are not organized at all. So now we have to go and do some pixel organizing. So how are we going to do that? As you can see, we have now sections of the icons. We have the navigation, the export, info, and the connect. So what we're going to do, we're going to go and add a blocker between all those sections. So let's go and get a blank on the top first. And we're going to have all those blanks with a fixed height. So let's fix it and make it, we can go with 60. All right, so now we have a distance between the logo and those two navigators. Now let's go and add another one, another blank between the navigators and the info. It's going to be as well a fixed height and a 60. And the same thing for the next set. So between the info and the exports, we're going to have as well a blank and 60. And now to the last blank, it's going to be between the exports and the social links. So fixed height, and we're gonna have it as a 60. All right, so now we have like spacing between all those icons. Now the next step is that we're gonna go and add a small text and like a divider for each section. So let's go and grab a text and put it on top of the info. Now we're gonna make it centralized, and we're gonna say this is an info. And for the size, we're gonna go with the 7. It should be really small. And make sure that we are selecting our dark gray like this. So it's very small. Let's hit OK. All right, so now the next thing is that we're going to go and add a small separator between the icon and the info. So let's go and configure this very mini separator. Let's take this gray from here, and we're going to go and change the opacity to 60 like this. And then we're going to go to the outer padding. Let's make it 5, and let's go and fix the height. Something around 11. All right, so now as you can see, we have a small text, and below it we have a divider. We're gonna go and do the same stuff for each section. So drop a text, make it to the center, and this section is the export section, and make sure it is 7. So as you can see, now we have like a nice separator, and we have a text on top of those icon. Let's go and do the same stuff for each section. So we're gonna go and grab a text for the exports, make it centralized. This is the exports. And the size should be 7, like this. And the color should be our gray color. Make sure to select it. and then okay, and we should fix the height, so it's gonna be fixed. Edit the height 20. Let's go and add a blank below it, so we're gonna go and configure it as well. We have the gray 60. Let's make it as 5, and we fix the height, and we're gonna have 11. All right, to the last group, so text, we make it centralized, follow. Let's take it as a gray and a 7. Okay, let's hit okay. And the separator, don't forget about it. So layout, we have 5, gray and 60 like this, and fixed height, and we're gonna have it as 11. All right, so let's go and have it as presentation. So now it looks nice, right? We have separation between those groups. Now the next step is that we're gonna go and control the size of all those icons. So let's do that. So for those 2 icons, we're gonna go and make sure it's fixed, and the height gonna be 38. The same thing for the next one, fixed height and 38. So now the next step is that, as you can see, the icons are on top of each other's. We're gonna go and add a very small blank between those 2, and we're gonna have a fixed height, and the height should be 10. So we have small separation between it. Let's go to the information icon, make sure it's fixed height, and the height gonna be 30. All right, so now let's go to the info icon, make sure we don't have any padding again, and we're gonna have it as a fixed height, and then edit the height to 30. So make sure to do it in the same sequence. You remove the padding and then you edit the height. If you do it the way around, you will get different sizing. So let's go to the next one, make sure we don't have any padding. So let's go and fix the height and make it 38. Now let's go to the next one. We're gonna do the same thing, fix the height and edit the height, gonna be 38. And I'm gonna go as well and add a separator between those 2 icons. So let's go and get a blank and just put it between them. And fixed height, this is gonna be a 10. So as you can see, I'm just following the same patterns in order to have the same size. Now let's go to the last group of icons, and we're gonna go to the YouTube channel. So fixed height, and for this one, I'm gonna go with 25. So let's check the layout, we don't have any padding. The same thing for the LinkedIn. So for this, we're gonna fix the height, and we're gonna have the height of 30. And the final one is gonna be as well fixed height and the 30. Now let's check. I think we have to go and add a blank between all those icons. So a blank between those 2, and edit height. The blanks are always 10, and one more blank between LinkedIn and Tableau, fixed height, and blank of 10. All right, so let's check again with the presentation models. They look really nice. So let's go back. So now we have to make sure that all those texts are the same. I think with the follow, we didn't make it as fixed height. So let's make it a 20. So now if you check the navigator, we still have some empty spaces. That's why we're gonna go and push a little bit on those blanks. So let's go to the first blank and make it 80. And to the second one, we can make it as well 80. And then the last one, we do the last push. So I think I'm really happy with the results. And of course, you can go and test the icons. So again, the info is working. We can go and export as PDF, as a file, and here you can go and check your links. All right, so with that, we are done with the left side with the Navi. Now we can go and add a nice icon for the quick filters. So let's go and do that. We're gonna go to the icon over here and then edit it. So now we need 2 icons as it is active. So it's gonna be this one over here, and once it is inactive, we're gonna have the gray one. So let's go and check that. So now it looks really nice. Let's move it a little bit to the bottom over here, something like this. So now we're gonna go and put a filter text on top of it so that the users know this is a filter. So we're gonna need a text, but make sure it is floating. So drop it somewhere here and to the middle. So filter, and let's go and choose a light gray like this and make it smaller and put it exactly on the top of our new filter switch, something like this, maybe a little bit below. So now it looks really nice. Let's go and test it. If I go and hit the image, it's gonna go and hide the whole container. It's really nice, so it grayed out, and if it's active, it's gonna be green. All right, friends, so we are done with the summary view. We have now fantastic dashboard. It was a long journey, but it's worth it. Now, in the next step, we have a second requirement in order to build a dashboard for the employee details. And this time it's gonna be quicker because only the first dashboard gonna be time consuming, and after that, everything gonna be faster. So as usual, let's go and understand the requirement in order to build the charts. Okay, so now let's check the second section of the user story and the requirements. So here we have the employee records view. So it says that we have to provide a list of all employees with necessary information such as name, department, position, gender, age, education, and salary. And another point in the requirements about the interactivities that the users should be able to filter the list based on the available columns. So here we don't have to build any visualizations or charts or anything. We have to provide only a list of all employees with important informations, and on top of it we need filters. So it sounds very simple. Let's check how we can build lists in Tableau. So let's start immediately building the charts. Here we have two methods. Either we're gonna go and build a simple list where we have a simple table in Tableau where we're gonna go and add, for example, let's say the employee ID. We're gonna go add locations. Like as you see, we are adding just dimensions side by side. So of course we can say this is the detailed list of the employees and the job is done. So I cannot go and put in each cell like two informations underneath each other's, or I cannot go and add icons and so on. So it is nice quick way, but it is very limited. And now the other method is that we're gonna go and use some tricks in order to customize the list. It is time consuming, but the end result is really nice in Tableau. So since it's advanced projects, I'm gonna go with the advanced techniques. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna leave the employee ID as a starter and make sure we are selecting here standard and not entire view. Otherwise you're gonna have all the employees in one view. This will not work, so make it standard. Let's go and remove the header. And now of course I'm gonna go and change the design of our worksheet. So let's go somewhere here and say format, and we're gonna go to the shading and let's make it black. Of course, we're going to change that later once we have everything in the dashboard. So what do we see here? First, we have the IDs of the employees. Let's go and hide the header as well. And we're going to have the coloring of this dimension going to be our light gray. So let's change that. Okay, so now this is the only dimension that we're going to use as a row, and the rest everything going to be as columns. And we're going to do the following trick. So we're going to go over here and say average and minus 1.0 like this. So now as we learned, this format is gonna add a placeholder for a shape, for a visual. So now for the chart type, we're gonna go with the shapes. So now we have here as the shapes. So now here we have like circles everywhere. This is our placeholder. I'm gonna go and change as well the format of our grid. So what do we need with the lines? I'm gonna go and make sure everything is none, just to make sure that we don't have anything. And then we're gonna go to the columns, remove the grid, and we're gonna go and add a fine line as a row, but I'm gonna go and make it really dark. Okay, so now it looks nice. Let's go and hide as well the header informations. All right, so now the first column gonna hold all the informations about the demographics. So what we need the first name and the last name, since it is the most basics about each employee. So now we have the first name and the last name separated. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go and create a new calculated field. I'm gonna call it full name, but now I'm gonna go and merge both of them, like concat both of those informations. So we have the first name, and then we're gonna have the plus, and then space between the first name and the last name. And we're gonna get the last name inside our calculation. All right, so with that we have the full name. So we have it as a new field. Let's go and drop it on the labels over here. So now as you can see, we have the full names of the employees. Now for the shape, let's go and add the gender. So we're gonna go and have the gender shape over here. We cannot see it yet because of the colors, so let's add it as well to the coloring. So now we have the same shapes that we have used in the income analysis. Now what else we want to add is, for example, the age. Let's go and drop the age as well to the label. And the last information about the demography, we're gonna have the education level. So let's drop it as well to the labels. So now as you can see, we have a lot of informations that is not really nice, and like there is a lot of overlapping. So we have to go and format it. Let's go first to the labels, and we're gonna go inside it in order to customize those informations. Everything gonna be to the left side as alignment, and then we're gonna have the age and education side by side and split it by a pipe. And now about the style, the first row is gonna be bold and using the light dark or gray, and the second row it will not be bold, but we're gonna go and use our dark gray. So this is going to be our style for all columns. Let's go and hit OK. So now as you can see, it looks nice, right? So we have the full name, and below it we have few more informations about the employee. But still, as you can see, the alignment between the informations and the ID is not correct. So what you're going to do, we're going to go to one of those rows and just slightly increase the size until it fits the screen. So I'm going to go and make it as well. And I'm gonna go with one more increase. Alright, so with that, as you can see, one row holds all the informations, there is no overlapping, and you keep doing that until you don't have any overlapping between the employees. So as you can see, it looks already very nice compared to having a list. So now on the right side, we have those legends. Let's go and remove them, we don't need it. Alright, so now we're gonna go to the second column, and as well it's gonna be a bunch of informations. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna copy it. So hold Control and just drop it side by side. So now as you can see, we have like two columns now. I'm gonna go and as well format the grid, where we're gonna go to the grid over here to the columns, and we're gonna remove the column divider. And as well, I'm gonna go and remove the rows. So let's go to the rows and remove it. So it looks more clean. So what we're gonna do with the second column, let's go and add the whole dimension of the department and the job titles. So make sure to select the correct one. So the first one is for the demographics, and the second one gonna be for the departments and jobs. So let's go and remove everything from it. So now we're gonna go and drop those informations. Let's get the job title first to the label. It's more important than the department. And then the second one gonna be the department. And as usual, we're gonna go and design it. So everything to the left. The first row gonna be bold and light gray. And the second row gonna be a dark gray and not bold. So that's it. Let's hit OK. So as you can see, it looks really nice. Now the question is, do we have an icon for the departments and jobs? Well, I don't have anyone, so that's why I'm gonna go and hide it. If you have one, you can go and add it. So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna go to the size and reduce it completely. But to still have a fine dot, we have to hide it by the opacity. So now if I remove it like this, you will not find it anymore. So this is the trick, and it looks really nice. Now let's go and add another column. It's gonna be about this time the dimension location. So same things. Let's go and switch to it. I'm gonna go and add the location as a color this time, and then the city in the label. So we're gonna get both of them as a label. So now let's go immediately and start formatting. So both goes to the left side. I wish to have first the city, then the states. So as usual, the first one gonna be the light, bold, and the second one gonna be the dark one. Alright. So now let's have a look. Everything looks nice. I'm gonna go and change the design of the shapes. It's gonna be a filled circle, and it's a little bit big, so I'm gonna go and reduce the size of this one. So if it is HQ, it's going to be green. If it's gray, it's going to be branch. So as you can see, it's not that complicated, right? It's easy. So let's add another information. I think now we can go and add the salary, but sadly we cannot go and add anything else to the salary. So we have to go and use it alone. So let's go and add the salary to the labels. And here we have those numbers. I would like to format it. So let's go and format the numbers. So let's go to numbers, and then we're going to go to the number custom. Reduce the decimals, and as a prefix, let's add the $sign. Alright, so the number looks nice. Let's go to the label and design it. So here we have the informations from the previous one. We don't need it, we have only the salary. And since it's the first row, we're gonna make it light gray. So since it's in the first row, it's gonna be the light gray and as well bold. So let's hit OK. And for now, I don't have any shapes for that. That's why we're gonna go and reduce the size and make the opacity to 0. Now to the next column, what we're gonna have the status of the employee, the hire date, and the termination date. So the status of the employee, we're gonna make it as a color. So that's we have the gray and the green. And we're gonna make the circle as a filled circle, reduce the size, something like this. Now I would like to add it as well to the label. So now what we need the hire date as well to the label, and as well the terminate date, but here we have it as a year. I would like to have the exact date. So we're gonna go and switch it to exact date and then to discrete. The same thing for the terminate date to exact date and then to discrete. Alright, now we have all informations. Let's go inside and start configuring it. So now we have here the status, hire date, and terminate date. Let's go everything to the left side, and we're gonna put the terminate date and then a minus between them. then the term date. And we're gonna go and design it as usual. So, and the below one gonna be the dark one. Okay, let's hit OK and check. Now we can see in the output we have the hire date, and let's see a terminated employee. So as you can see, we have here a terminated date side by side. Alright, so now the last column is going to be interesting. We're going to have a bar chart indicating the length of the hire. So we're going to go and calculate in years the duration of the employment. Let's go and create a new calculated field. We're going to call it the length of hire. So here we have two calculations. If the employee is hired and not terminated, we're going to go and calculate the years between today and the hire date. So let's go and do that. We're going to need an if statement, and then we're going to check whether the employee is hired or not using the following logic as usual. Is null. So we are checking the terminate date. If it is null, then the employee is not yet terminated. So what can happen? We're going to calculate the differences between today and the hire date. So date diff, and we're going to have a year. I'm going to go and add it as a new row. So what we are calculating between the hire date and today. So this is the formula for the employees that are not terminated. And now we're going to have otherwise, else. We're going to have the date diff. And now not between today and the hire date, it's going to be between the hire date and the terminated date. So it's going to be the same thing, year, hire date, and terminated date. It's very simple. Let's go and end it. Let's hit OK. So now we have a new measure, and I would like to go and test it first. So remember the first sheets where we test stuff here. So I'm going to remove a few stuff. We need the hire date, the terminate date, and our new nice column. So I'm going to show it as discrete. Now, of course, depend on the year that you are doing the tutorial, you might get different results. So now, as you can see here, we have 6 years, 2 years, 2 years, and so on. And since here we have a termination date, we have here a 0. All right, so everything is working. Let's go back to our detailed list. All right, so now we need a new column, but this time we will not use the placeholder because we have already a measure. So we have already the length of hire. Let's drag and drop it side by side. And now we have to go and configure the chart type. It will not be a shape. Let's go and use the bar. So now we have here a bar in our charts. I'm going to go and reduce the size of it. Maybe more. Okay, so now let's go and add content to those bars. So let's start with the status. I'm going to put it on the colors. And we need as well the label. So we're going to take as well the length of hire to the label. And now let's go and edit it. So let's go inside. So we don't need all those informations. We have here the number of years. So let's go and make it bold and as well change the color type to light gray. And after that, we're going to have years like this, and maybe not as bold. So that's it. Let's go and hit OK. Okay, so now we have like years at the end of the bars, but what we can do, we can go and change the alignment completely left and in the center. All right, so now let's go and check the result. So as you can see in the list, we have the two colors. So here, for example, we have 1 year of termination as well here. So the legend is working. Now, as you can see, things might be very tight. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go and change the size of all those texts. So let's go to all, and then let's go to label, and then to the font, and let's make it 8 instead of 9. So with that, we're going to have better spacing between those columns. So now the next step is that I'm going to go and remove all those informations here, the axes. So let's go and remove show header, and we are done. Now we have a really nice list for the employees. So again, this is the one that is time consuming, but as you can see, we have nice bars, we have a lot of icons, and we have multiple informations in one column. It is a little bit confusing at the start on how to build it, but once you understand it, you can go and make amazing lists. And of course, having a simple list as well is fine. All right, so now we're going to plan the mockup for the second dashboard, and this one can be really easy. And we have the same title, but at the end, we're going to swap it with the details. Now in the middle, we're going to have only one section called the employee list. And here we have only one type of chart. We have a list. So we're going to have multiple rows and multiple columns and informations in each cell. Now, of course, if you have a detailed list, it would be nice if we can filter the list. So that's why we're going to put on top of each column an option for the users in order to filter the informations that we can see inside the cells. So at the end, as you can see, it's very simple. We have only one list, and on top of it, we have filters. So that's it for the dashboard mockup. As you can see, it's really easy. Let's move to the second mockup where we're gonna plan the containers. Back to Draw.io. Now I have a screenshot of our new mockup, and I copied a lot of stuff from the previous design. So now let's dive in and see how we're gonna do it. So we're gonna focus on the black box in the middle. So what do we have here? We have a title, then filters, and a list. So we need a vertical container for that. Let's go and do it. So this is the main vertical container, like this. And now what do we need? We need a title. So first it starts with one title. So it's gonna be as well to the left side. I'm gonna make it like this. So now what do we have below it? We have now like different filters side by side. So we need horizontal containers. So below it, we're gonna have a horizontal container like this. And let's remove it. And inside it, we're gonna have multiple filters. So it's gonna be filter. So they all gonna be side by side. Of course, there are way more details as what I'm showing you now. And we're going to talk about it later. Here we are talking about the rough design about the containers. And now what do we have below the filters? We have our chart, the list. So it's going to be only one object without any container. So below it, we will have a big list like this. That's it. Now let's go and focus what we're gonna have inside the filter. Now I just took a copy of a filter and let's design the container for this. So as you can see, it's like something below each other's. So we need a vertical container for the whole filter like this. Okay, and now inside it, we're gonna have like a title and side by side with an icon. So for that, we're gonna go and get a horizontal container. So inside it's gonna be like a horizontal container like this. We're gonna have a title for the filter and side by side with a very small green icon. Alright, so now to the next one, what do we have? We have like filters underneath each other's, and that's why we're gonna go with a vertical container for the filters. So it's gonna be like this. And inside it, we're gonna have multiple small filters. So filter one and another one below it. So this is the design of each of those filters that we have on top of the list. Alright guys, so with that we have a rough plan for the container structure and as well for the dashboard itself. So now let's go back to Tableau in order to build our dashboard. Alright, so now we're gonna go and create the dashboard for the detail list, but this time we will not do it from the scratch. We're gonna go and duplicate the whole work that we have done and only do a few adjustments for the new dashboard. It's gonna be time consuming only for the first dashboard, but once you have it, then you can go and duplicate it for the rest. So let's go and do that. We're gonna go and duplicate this dashboard and we're gonna go and rename it to HR details. So now the first step is that we're gonna go and prepare the containers as usual. So let's go and make this bigger and let's go to the layout. So now of course we are not going to change the Navi container. We're gonna go work with the content here in the middle. So let's go to the whole dashboard over here and drill down. So it's gonna be the Navi, and here we have the header and charts. It's fine. Let's go inside it. So now we have here the header. It's gonna stay as it is, but this container is gonna be dropped completely. So right click on it and remove. Well, yes. So what is left over here is this legend. So I'm just gonna take it and put it here on top. Maybe later we're gonna use it. So now let's focus on creating the content here in the middle. So what do we need? We need first a vertical container. So let's drag and drop it exactly below the title. And then as usual, we're gonna go and drop some blanks. So this is the first blank and then the second blank. We can go of course and mark it if you want. So the whole thing gonna be with the border, the orange one. So now we can go and as well rename it filters and list. Then okay. So now for the filter we need one horizontal container. So let's go and drop it here on top. And of course we're gonna go and add some blanks inside it. So this is the first blank. So we have it somewhere here. Then the right blank in order to have it as fixed. So select the whole thing and we're gonna mark it with a blue container. And now what is below the filters, it's gonna be our list, right? So let's go to the dashboard and we're gonna go and grab the details. So let's drop it beneath the filters Let's go back to the layout and check it. So as you can see, we have the filters and the details. Now we can go and remove the blanks. We don't need it anymore. So by looking to the charts, we can go and remove the title. So this is the main containers for this dashboard. Now what we're going to do, we're going to go inside the filters container and we're going to build one container for each group of columns in order to have the filters for it. So now for the first two groups of the columns, I'm going to do it step by step slowly, but for the rest, I'm going to speed up the video. So now let's start with the first container for the employee ID. So what do we need? We need a container, of course. It's going to be a vertical container. And then inside it, we have two blocks. And make sure to have it below it exactly. So this is our container. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And we can go, of course, and mark it in order to see the borders. It's going to be this one and orange. And we're going to go and rename it like this. So employee ID filter. Now what do we need inside this is two horizontal containers. So the first one going to be for the title of the filter. So we're going to have immediately a text inside it. Let's call it employee ID. So let's take it to the middle, change the color to light gray, and maybe make it as a 10 for now. So hit OK. So now the next we need a second container, but this one gonna be a vertical one exactly below it. So let's go as well and add few blanks inside it, just to make sure that we have it as a vertical container. So let's go and rename stuff. Now this is gonna be the title. And below it, we're going to have it as a filters. And of course, we can go and add the borders in order to see everything. And let's go and remove those placeholders. So remove the blank and as well the blank. So now the next step of that, we're going to go and add a button for the second container to be used or to be added on the first container. So let me show you what I mean. Make sure to select the filters, right click on it and add show hide button. So now we have here a small button over here. We have to go and remove the floating from it. So it lands somewhere here. So now drag it and put it side by side with the title. And let's go and make the whole thing a little bit smaller. And now in order to understand what I mean with this button, we're going to go and add a filter inside the second container. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to our list and to the small arrow. And then let's go to filters and let's grab employee ID. So now as you can see our filter now inside the container filters, it's very important to make sure that everything is correct in the correct container. So let's go and test out. So now why do we have this button? Check this out. If I click on it, we don't see any filters, so we are hiding the filters, and if we click on it again, we can see the filters. So that's why we have to have this icon outside of the container in order to control the visibility of this container. So this button is controlling whether we are showing the filters or not. Now let's make the design a little bit better. So let's go inside it, and this time we're going to go to the bottom. So let's go and edit it. So if it is shown, I have an image for that. It's going to be this arrow, the green arrow. So let's go and select it. And if it is hidden, then we have the gray one like this. So let's go and hit OK. So now we have to make sure that the whole container of the title is fixed. So as you can see, it's fixed height, which is correct. So now let's go and test it. So as you can see now, the arrow is inactive, but once I click on it, it's going to be inactive and it has a really nice effect. All right, so now we need to fix something. If you see here, I'm hiding the filter, but there is a lot of wasted space, right? So what you're going to do, we're going to make things more dynamic and flexible. So if I'm not showing any filters, this space should be used for the list, right? So currently we are wasting a lot of space. So let's see how we can fix that. So let's go back to our dashboard. So now the first step is that we have to make sure that our list is flexible. So let's go to this small arrow over here, and we have to make sure there is nothing selected here. So fixed height is not selected, which is correct. Now the next step, we're going to go to the container filter over here. So select the whole thing and make sure this as well without a fixed height. So go over here. You can see it is fixed height. So let's go and remove it. So now as you can see, Tableau did use the whole space. So now it's more variable and dynamic. So now one more thing that I would like to do is to go to the filters and remove all those blanks. So remove this one and this one as well. So let's go and test again. Now we are using the whole space because we are not showing any filters, but once I click on the button, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna use the space in order to show the filter. So this is very dynamic and looks really nice. Alright, so that's all for the first filter. Let's go and make everything smaller. And I'm gonna go and do the same stuff for the second filter. So here we have a bunch of informations. We have around like 4 informations. So we need 4 filters for that. Now we're gonna go and do the same stuff. So we need a vertical container side by side. Let's go and add a few blanks inside it. So it is this very small one. I'm gonna go and select it and maybe as well change the color of that. So like this. It's still small, so make it bigger. Alright, so the first container inside is gonna be the horizontal container. And I'm gonna go and add for that the text. So this one gonna be the demo graphics. Gonna be in the middle and light gray. And as well, let's make it 10 for now. So hit OK. And then the next step, we're gonna go and add another container, and this time it's gonna be the vertical container below it. And here we're gonna have a lot of filters. So let's go again to our list. So the first thing we need the full name. It's dropped over here, so let's go and drop it where we want. And we're gonna change it to a drop-down list. Alright, so now the next step is that we need to go and get the gender filter. So let's go and get it. Now we have it over here, so drag and drop it exactly below the full name. Alright, so I'm gonna go and remove this blank, otherwise it's gonna go and confuse us. So remove it from dashboard, and as well the second one. Alright, so now it's fine. Let's go and edit the gender. It's gonna be a drop-down list. Alright, now the next one, we need the age. I'm gonna say, let's go and get the age group. So let's go to filters. We don't have it yet because we don't have it in the list. So we have to go inside the worksheet. And let's go to all and drop the age group somewhere in the details here. Then we should be able to find it. So let's check again to filters. And now we have the age group. And of course, we're gonna have it in the first filter. Let's go and drop it exactly below the others. So make sure always that you are dropping everything inside this vertical container. Let's go and rename them as well. It's going to be the filters. And the above one, it is the title. And the main one, it is the demo graphic filters. Alright, so let's go back to our filter, make it a drop-down list. And we need the last one, it's going to be the education level. So we're going to have it as well here. Drop it exactly below the others and a drop-down list. Great. So now the next step is that we're going to go to the filters and add a button for that. So let's go and do it. Add a button. So we have it over here. Change it from floating to tilde. So we have it over here. Let's drop it side by side to the title. It's not working, so we'll drop it somewhere here maybe first. And then take it near the title. Great, now let's select the whole container, make it smaller. And we're gonna go and work with the icon. So let's use the green as shown. And the hidden should be the gray. And we can go, of course, and test it. So now close it, and show it. We have to go and fix the height in order to not have this strange effects. So fix the height, and now we will not have it. So hide it and show it. Alright, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna go and fix the design of those two filters, and we're gonna follow the same design for all other filters. So let's see how we can do that. First of all, I'm gonna go and give a background color for the whole section. So let's go and check the whole section. It is filter and list. So let's go to the background over here and pick the black one. And now the next step, I'm gonna go and remove the background color of the worksheet. So let's go to the format, and then to the shading and remove the worksheet color. So now let's go step by step for those two filters. First, I'm gonna go and switch the title and the icon. I would like to have the icon to the left, the same thing over here. And now the next step, those icons are really big, so let's go and give it a fixed width. And then let's have a value like 25. The same thing over here, so fix and 25. Alright, so now the next step is that I'm gonna go and work with those titles. So let's move it to the left and make it smaller. To the 9. The same thing here, instead of employee ID, let's have only ID. We don't have a lot of space. Make it 9 and to the left side. Alright, now the next step is that we're going to go and work with the coloring. So let's go to one of those filters, then to format, filter and set control. Now for the title, we're going to make it smaller to 8. And with the color, it's going to be the dark color. Now for the body, it's going to be as well 8. But this time, the color is going to be the light gray. So it seems the title did change again. That's strange. Let's go and change it back to the dark gray and test. So the color of the values are okay and the titles are darker. Nice, great. Now the next step, we're going to go and place the filter exactly on the top of the column itself. So let's go and do that. Select the whole container and let's press it to be exactly on top of the IDs, something like this. And the same thing here. Let's move it and maybe around here, but we still have a divider between them. Let's go and check the layout. So we're gonna have it always like this, a filter and then a divider between it. So let's call it divider. So how we're gonna style the divider? It's gonna be as usual, a dark gray. Now let's go to the outer padding, make everything as 0. Change the width to 1. So we have it very thin, and then we're gonna go and add an outer padding to the left and right. Let's have something around like maybe 6 to the left and 6 to the right. So we have like a small separation between them. And of course, the last step, we're gonna go and remove all those borders. So we are done with that. We have here as well a border, and the same thing for the next filter. We have here a border. And now we can see we have still space between the filters and the list, so we can go and select the whole thing just to make sure that we are selecting it. And let's just shift it to the education level. Alright, so now by checking the divider doesn't look good, so let's go back to divider and have as well on the top 10 and below that as well 10. So let's check again the design. Alright, so we are done with the first 2 filters. We have to go and repeat the same stuff for all other columns. So now what's gonna happen, I'm gonna go and speed up the video as I'm creating all those filters. That was a lot of filters inside our dashboard. Now let's go and test it. So we have all those filters. We can go and hide all those filters as well, but we still have an issue. It is not anymore flexible. So I think we have still a fixed height. Let's go and fix that. So let's go and select the whole container. It was the filter containers and it should not be fixed. Yeah, here is the issue. So let's go and remove it. And let's go and test again. So we open the first filter, the second, third, and we are almost there. We still have here a lot of wasted space. So let's go and check the containers. And it should not be fixed. So we have it as fixed. So let's remove it. The first one, it's not fixed, so it's fine. Second one, remove the fixed. And here as well, it's not fixed, fine. So, and the last one. Great. So let's go and do the final test. So if we close everything, the list should be bigger. So now let's go and add spacing inside our dashboard. So let's go and do that. And we're going to go and remove all those borders. So let's go and select the whole container, filters and list. And we're going to go and remove the border. So now as you can see at the bottom, we don't have any spacing. So we have to go and add an outer padding. So let's remove the 2. We need only 20 at the bottom. So great, now we have a space. On the right side it looks good, and as well on the top, now it looks good. So now let's go and add an inner spacing, and it's gonna be the number 7 for all sides. Great, so let's go and remove the blue container here. So we don't need the border. And let's go and expand everything again to see whether we have any borders. So we don't have any border colors. Great, let's go and close it. Now we'd like to go and add a title for this list. So let's go and grab a text and carefully put it on top of the current container. So we're going to say employee list and then a pipe. And then we're going to tell the users to click on the arrows. So click arrows for filter options. So now we have to go and change the coloring. This is going to be a light gray, a bold, and it should be 14 for the size. And for the rest, it's gonna be a dark gray. And let's go with an 8. All right, looks fine. Now let's go and add a spacing between those 3 sections. So we have a title, we have the filters and the list. So let's start with the employee. I'm gonna go and add a padding at the bottom around like maybe 10. Okay, looks nice. Now let's go for the group of filters. So select the whole container and let's go with the padding to the bottom around 10. Okay, so with that we have like spacing between all those objects and it looks way better. So now the next step we're going to talk about the legends. I'm not going to use any legends in these charts, and let's go and remove it as well. We didn't need any filters since we have enough filters, so let's go and remove it as well, and as well this icon. Okay, so with that we are done with the main part of our dashboard. Now we're gonna go and check our navigation and the title. Of course, we haven't forgot about the title. So instead of overview, it is details. And let's go and change the size of this word to 16 and maybe something darker. So I'm gonna go and change it to something like this. Yeah, it looks way nicer than before. I'm gonna go and take the number of the color, and we have to, of course, to change that for the first dashboard. So let's go over here, make it 16, and as well change the color with the same color, like it's a little bit darker and it looks way nicer. All right, so now on the left side, we have an easy job. What we're gonna do, we're gonna go to the first icon and make it deactivated. So let's go and edit the button. And now instead of active, we have to have it as a deactive or inactive. Okay. So now as you can see, it is inactive. And for the first button, we're gonna go and make it active. So this is going to be the green table. And of course, now we can go and map it. So we have this dashboard. Let's go and map it to the details. All right, so it looks really nice. Let's go back to the first dashboard. And of course, we have to do the same mapping. So let's go and edit the button. And we're going to map it to our new dashboard details. Okay. Now I would like to go and add one more nice thing in order to indicate that this icon is active.
So I'm gonna go to the dashboard, to the floating, and let's grab a blank. So click on the blank and let's go and pick the background color of the green color. And now we're gonna go and decrease the size of this to be a small indicator like this maybe. So, and we're gonna move it over here. So I'm gonna say, let's make it like the height 40 and place it exactly near the icon. Yeah, maybe something like this. Okay, so now let's go and check the dashboard. I'm gonna go and reduce the width of that. So let's make it thinner, maybe like this. So with that, we have like a small indicator that this icon is active. So let's go and do the same thing for the second dashboard. So we're gonna grab as well, again, a blank, and we're gonna make the color of that green. So the width is gonna be 6 and the height gonna be 40. And now we're gonna go and place it exactly near the active icon. Something like this. All right, so let's go and check the design. It looks really nice. So let's have a final look to our dashboard. Here we have a nice filter in the main dashboard. Here we have this nice information. We can go and download stuff. We can go and follow, and the whole dashboard is interactive. And now if the users want to go and click on the second dashboard, all what they have to do is to go and click on this icon. And we are now on the detail list about the employees, and everything here is very interactive. So let's go and hide all those informations, and it looks wonderful.
Alright friends, so now we have a bonus section where we're gonna go and customize a background image for the layout of our new dashboard, and that's gonna make the overall design of our dashboard look really cool and professional. And this time we're gonna use another tool in order to create the layouts. We're gonna go and use Figma. So what is Figma? Figma is a design tool that is used by many UI and UX designers in order to create concepts, mockups for the user interfaces. And it is an amazing tool in order to share your work with the others, in order to work and collaborate as a team. You can find the link to my work with the other links in the project materials. And of course, don't worry about the cost, there is a free plan for starters. So now we will not do a deep dive into how to use Figma, I will just show you how I usually use it for Tableau. So let's go. Okay, so now we're gonna start with the empty file and we're gonna put a screenshot from our dashboard. Now the next step is that we need a frame. So let's go and get a frame exactly on top of our dashboard. And now we can go and hide the image. Now we need a color for our dashboard. So it's gonna be something maybe like this, or let's increase it a little bit. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna go and add lightning from the corners. So in order to do that, we're gonna take the shape of circle or ellipse and gonna make it like this, and maybe a little bit bigger and to the back. Let's go and change the color of this and something here like in the middle. And then we're gonna go and add an effect in order to have like a glue. So we're gonna have a blur, and we're gonna go and change the value to something around 1500. So now if you check, we have like a glue or like light that comes from this corner. Now let's go and add the same in the other corner. Gonna do it like here. So now let's go and increase the size of this one. Something like this. So we need more lightning comes from the right side, and still we have it to have it like bigger. So, and one more darker. Okay, alright, so with that we have a background. Next we're gonna go and add the background colors of each sections. So we need again our image, and now we have to go and zoom in. Now what we need a rectangle, and we have to be very careful that we meet the exact edges of our dashboards. So let's get it like this, and I'm gonna go and reduce the opacity to something around 50 just to see the borders. So yeah, nice. Now we're gonna go and increase it to 100, and we need now the color of complete black. And now what we're gonna do, we're gonna go and use the gradient instead of the solid. So let's go and do this, and now we're gonna go and work with the lower value. So we have to decrease it like this, maybe a little bit more. So like this. So now the next step, we're gonna go and add a corner for our container, maybe 20. Great. So now let's go and repeat the same things for the other containers. So we're gonna have it for the overview, maybe reduce again the opacity to see the borders. So like this, and here, and as well, it's gonna meet the same borders. Okay, so now let's go and copy this to the second section. So increase it like this, and we have to meet the edges. Perfect. Let's go and do the same for the last section. Something like this. And now we are done. We have to go and increase the opacity to 100 everywhere. And of course, we're gonna go and remove the background. So we are almost there. What we're gonna do, we're gonna go and change the coloring of each of those containers. So let's go to the linear, and maybe we're gonna go and take the lower level, like outside, and this here. So it's gonna go a little bit darker. So to the next one as well, to the linear, we're gonna have it like somewhere here, and the low value gonna be outside. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take those eclipse and put it somewhere like here, and let's keep working on those coloring. So let's move to the next one, to the linear. Let's move this somewhere here and check the colors. So we can put it like this. And to the last one, you can move it like this here, and I'm gonna have it here like rotated. Great, so now let's have a look. It looks very nice. Okay, so now I'm gonna go and add our second dashboard over here, and make sure to place it exactly on top of our dashboard. So let's move it here, and let's close some of those informations. I'm gonna have only the Navi. So now we need one more for the list. So let's go and do this. Zoom in a little bit. All right. Decrease the opacity to see through. Decrease the opacity to see through. So 40. And let's go and meet the borders. Yes. Okay. So that's it. We're gonna go and increase again the opacity to 100. Now for the filling, we're gonna do something like this. And the low value gonna be a little bit outside. Alright, so that's it. Now we have to go and export those background images. So we're gonna do it like this. For the first dashboard, what do we need? We need the Navi, and we need those two. And we have to go and hide all the images. So that's it. Click on the container, and we have here the option of exporting. So let's go and export it. And now we have to go and export again for the second dashboard. So we're gonna go and hide those informations. We need this, and that's it. Let's go and export again. Alright, so now back to Tableau. We're gonna first remove all the background colors of each containers before adding the background image. So let's go and do that. Let's start with the whole dashboard. We're gonna remove it, and then we're gonna go and select the Navi, remove it as well. So none. And to the overview, none. To the next one, it's none. And to the last one, it's none. So with that, we don't have any background color for the containers, but you still see here gray, and that comes from the default color of the dashboard. So if you go to the format dashboard, you can see we have it as a default. And this is nice. If you go into the presentation models, you're going to have everything as gray. So we're going to leave it as it is. And now we're going to go and add the background image. So we're going to have it as a floating image to the middle. Make sure it is fit and center, and then choose. We're going to go with the background summary, and okay. So now next we're going to go and change the size to our dashboard size, and then the position to be 0. And of course now we are not seeing anything from the content, and that's because the order of the floating objects. So now as you can see, it is on top. So let's go and move it to the background, and with that we see the background image of our dashboard. So I think it's really nice. Now let's go and do the same things for the next dashboard. So we're gonna do the same things. The whole dashboard's gonna be removed. The Navi gonna be as well removed, and the list gonna be removed. So with that, we don't have any background colors. Let's go and add our floating image for the background. So center fit, and we're gonna have our image, and okay. Same things, the size, the height, and the position to be 0. Now, of course, you are not seeing anything. We have to go and sort the floating objects. It's going to be as a background. All right, so that's it. I'm really happy about the results. Let's go to the presentation models. So guys, what do you think? We have an amazing dashboard, and this is the power of using the background image for your dashboards. So we have more options to add shadows, rounded edges like here, and some lighting. So let's go and switch it. As you can see, it looks amazing. Alright my friends, if you're still here, congrats, you have just completed the Tableau project from the scratch, from the requirements until having this amazing dashboard. And with that you have experienced all the phases of the Tableau project that I usually do in my real world projects. So friends, I cannot really stress enough how it's important to take time planning the projects before rushing into building the charts and the dashboards. Without having a clear plan for the projects, things can lead to chaos. So take your time planning it step by step. And of course, feel free to share your projects in any platform that you prefer, like use it as portfolio for your Tableau public profile or as well in LinkedIn. And it would be nice of you if you share and mention my channel to spread the knowledge. So if you like this project and you want me to make more content like this, please support the channel by subscribing, liking and commenting. This really helps with the YouTube algorithm, and as well it helps me to reach the others. And of course, don't be a stranger, you can connect and follow me in LinkedIn. So my friends, nothing left to say beside, thank you so much for watching the tutorial, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.